My name's Jeremy Ford.
I'm Dylan Robertson.
And we're here this afternoon at Toronto Cricket Club at the home of cricket, Ron Hill Oval, and we're going to catch up with some of the boys.
We got Aaron, the president and self-proclaimed second wicket-keeper of first grade. Can you just give us your nickname, please?
Oh, geez, I've got a few. But yeah, definitely backup keeper. I'll run with that.
Ben, you're also well known for, as I said, abusing gloves. What set are you up to this year?
Oh, probably the third or fourth, mate.
Can I have some?
Yes, you can.
All right, we're here with youngster Mark Roberts. Just got a few questions for you, mate. Firstly, have you got any nicknames?
Called Robbo sometimes, but
That's a good nickname, that one, personally.
only a few people.
Yeah, it's a good nickname, trust me. Occupation?
No, I don't have an occupation.
Student?
Yeah, I'm a student. I referee sometimes at soccer, but that's about it.
Okay, so you're one of those. Daniel Ridgway, overseas professional? Nope, just overseas.
In the last couple of games, I've seen you kicking stones. Now, I'm just wondering, have you found that 10 cents yet?
Oh, look, you're always looking for it, aren't you? But you'll never probably find it. But yeah, no, I've not been known to do it. But when you beat the bat a few times, I guess you get a little bit frustrated. But that's my fault for probably not bowling straight enough, I guess.
Biggest pest at the club?
Oh, probably the Pomp.
Biggest pest at the club?
Oh, Matt Somerville, without a doubt.
The biggest pest at the club that you've seen?
Oh, there's been a few. I'd say collectively the people that annoy me the most are the people who don't bother with packing up after training. So there's probably a few there, but yeah, those guys that just need a quick drink or a shower, or they've just got to duck off, or just got to get to work. That's a good one. Yeah, so those guys.
Aaron, how does it feel being the bloke with the biggest calves in Newcastle cricket?
Mate, well, I don't get to see him, so I actually don't know. But thanks for the advice. And maybe one day, yeah, I'll get out and have a look at the old... I've got calfitis, mate, but don't take the piss out of me.
Is it true that you actually cut your third strap off your pad as well, so you just got the two rocking?
I did have a set like that once.
Daniel, also with the creek here at Ron Hill, our POM last year lost, I think it was 13 cricket balls. How many are you up to?
I'm none from none at the minute, so I've not hit one or not been bombed in there yet. So I'm hoping to keep it as low as possible on both counts, because I know I'm not going to hit any in there.
I think the club would appreciate that too at $80 a ball, so we appreciate that.
Hit one! Hey-oh! How many more we got left? We need the keeper to get the stump. Yep! Yeah! There's one! Yeah, Matt's still great. Yeah! Oh! Nicked it. Nicky? Yeah! Oh! 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 Molly, that's it. Yes, number! Hit it, Robert! Come back. Yeah! Good. Good, man.
Well, that's a wrap up from here at the home of cricket, Ron Hill. My name's Jeremy Ford.
I'm Dylan Robertson.
And thank you for joining us and meeting some of the guys. Now, we've got some important things coming up this year. It is our 60th year as a club, so we have our dinner. Jeff Thompson is guest speaker, and tickets are on sale via Sticky Ticks. I believe that's the website. It's on our website as well and on our Facebook. So if you're feeling up to it, which you probably should, keep up with all the socials. We've got our Facebook and our Instagram, and you'll be finding plenty of links, plenty more player profiles, and a lot more imagery coming from our games. So from us here at Ron Hill, thank you.
And I might just...
Good afternoon and welcome to number 1 Sports Ground in Newcastle for the Newcastle City Council Summer Bash. Toronto Kookaburras taking on the Wallsend Tigers this afternoon. Ben Homer and Aaron Gray with you in commentary. We're just about to get the first ball underway. It will be Wallsend bowling from this southern end of number 1 Sports Ground. Toronto out there in the middle, as well as the Tigers. Aaron Gray, good afternoon to you.
G'day, how you doing, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going well. Just tell me, before we get started, what are your thoughts on this one this afternoon?
Well, it'll be a close one, that's for sure. The Wallsend Tigers did beat Toronto in the last round of the 2-day match in December. So, yeah, I think there'll definitely be a little bit of eagerness from Toronto to square up here, but I think Wallsend at the moment obviously deserve, rightly so, to have the wood over from that most recent victory.
And interesting, considering their positions on the table in the 2-day competition. A bit of an upset there. So,
yeah, well, look, cricket's a game of 2 teams, so I guess it's a 2-horse race at any time. But look, they played well, and I think the boys at Toronto obviously weren't that impressed with their own performance. But yeah, certainly Wallsend played well and deserved the win.
Well, James Beattie to open the bowling for Wallsend, and very nicely whipped away towards the boundary, fielded out there by Matt Lynch. Some good work running around. And opening the batting for Toronto, Corey Brown out there whipping that one away nicely, and he's out there with Jeremy Ford.
Yeah, Brownie probably didn't expect to be playing here today. He hasn't featured a whole lot in our T20 cricket, but skipper Adrian Chad stuck solid with him for this one.
Well, a decent start here for Wallsend as that one is whipped away. Just what they needed, a boundary in the opening over. And he started pretty nicely, Corey Brown. 73 runs in the 2-day competition this year. As you said, a little bit surprising for him to be in the side, but he seems to be making it count thus far.
Yeah, well, the bowlers just dropped short a little bit there on a couple of occasions, so just put them away. But yeah, 2-day cricket probably certainly suits Corey's game more so. He likes to spend some time in the middle.
He's hit that one nicely. Is it going to go all the way? It will. Beautiful strike from Corey Brown. And it's becoming an expensive first over for James Beattie.
He's hit that pretty well, hasn't he? So he's hit him with the wind there, I think. Straight over good old-fashioned cow corner.
Beautifully struck. And none for 12 with a ball left in this over. James Beattie has been the Tigers' second most prolific wicket taker this year with 11 wickets over the Tom Locker Cup and also the 2-day competition. That's a better delivery. Dots up Corey Brown on the final ball of the over, but a really solid start from Toronto.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. 12 off the first over, and Brownie's out of the blocks.
And Aaron, just tell us, of course, you're connected with Toronto. How's the club faring this season?
Oh, look, it's a big year for us. It's our 60th season since we came into the competition in 1959. So that obviously brings with it a couple of milestone events. There's an old boys cricket match actually this Sunday. Genko's bringing the troops back to Ron Hill Oval for a game of cricket. So that should be a great way to sort of reflect on previous generations. And then we have a 60th dinner in about 4 weeks from now. So, yeah, there's a lot on at the moment, and right in the middle of our T20 comp as well. So it's cricket nearly 7 days a week for our club at the moment.
It's pretty full on, isn't it, this time of year?
So we've got Pat McGann.
Yeah, Pat McGann, what a bowler he is. 12 wickets across the 2 competitions this year. That left arm fast action, and Jeremy Ford forced into a defensive shot to start the over. Such an impressive young man, McGann.
Yeah, so he's had a stint down in Sydney in recent years as well with Randwick Petersham.
He decided after 2 matches this season that he didn't want to make the constant trips down the expressway, and came back to play with Nathan Price, who he actually played with down there as well. Just couldn't quite get the radar on right on that occasion.
It'll be a critical spell here from Pat, I would think. Probably did most of the damage for them in the two-day match that we recently played in them, but obviously that experience coming from Sydney, they'll be hoping that he can get them off to a good start here.
Scamper through for the single.
The ground's looking good, Ben.
It's looking in decent nick. Very, very good nick, considering the amount of rain we've had in Newcastle over the last few weeks. It's been such a dry spell, hasn't it?
It is, and we're getting more this week, aren't we? The little heat wave.
Yeah, definitely. But no rain on the way, which is good news, so...
Wasn't Kerry Packer calling, was it, mate?
It wasn't, and I don't understand how that's rung, because 90% of the time I have my phone on silent. So I must have taken it off. I didn't even think about that. Must have bumped it. So sorry about that. I should have kept my phone off. But McGann, really good over this. Just the two off it thus far. And those water bottles will be in great need this afternoon. As Aaron was just saying, very warm one. Here's McGann again. All played in the end by Brown. Good start from him.
Yeah, Brown, he must be going at striking at nearly 200, is he? 12 off the first over and then another run there, so 13 off 6 or 13 off 7.
Yeah, boundary and a maximum as well in that first over.
He'll be pretty happy with that strike rate. Brownie, it's probably at least...
This one just prodded away. They'll look for two, and they will get it. Solid running.
Yeah, Brownie's career strike rate would be somewhere around 30, I think. So we're getting up around 200. He'd be very impressed with that.
I can tell you, in the two-day competition this year, his strike rate's at 121. So maybe a bit off, but...
In the two-day comp, is it?
Yeah.
Wow, that does surprise me.
If the stats book is correct, here's McGann. This one flicked away, and high and wide. And the man out here, Anthony Young, doing the run around for Wallsend, and another boundary. None for 21 after 2 overs. Perfect start. What's par out here at number one Sports Ground, Aaron? Are you looking at around 150, 160 from scores in years gone by?
Look, I had a look at the deck earlier, particularly to see if they were intending on using this maybe tomorrow or Thursday as well. Just might decide how they've prepared it, and it looks a good track. It's certainly very dry and hard. Nice amount of grass in it, but the outfield for me looks a bit shorter than previous years. So, yeah, I would think that sort of 160, 170 is definitely a par score. If you get more than that, I think team batting first, you're probably an advantage, and if you're less than that, well then obviously I think the bowling team's done probably pretty well.
Well, the sight screen's just getting manoeuvred, and Nathan Price, it hasn't taken long for the skipper to bring himself into the attack. Wonderful season for him. Only played 3 matches in the Tom Locker Cup due to wet weather ruining a couple of those, and he was top of the champion player standings. Can't draw up the scoring though. Will just be the one though for Jeremy Ford. Corey Brown, I should say. Really good start from him.
Yeah, you've had me scrambling here to check out that strike rate of Corey, because I can't let him get away with that. But yeah, I can see there's a couple of anomalies based on the fact they haven't taken balls for some of his longer innings.
So the calculation is done only on the innings where
they've
the balls have been
recorded. So yeah, we just can't simply let him get away with that. That's
so we'll put an asterisk next to that.
Yeah, that's dressing room chat. He's always competing for that lower strike rate accolade, which obviously everyone's not striving for necessarily. But look, let's be honest, in two-day cricket, occupying the crease is a very valuable commodity, and particularly these days when, scoring quick seems to be more of a focus and batting the day out.
Well, I can tell you that the 6 he hit in the first over, Corey Brown, that was his first of the season.
Yeah, okay.
So that goes along with what you're saying. Bit of a grafter. Highest score this season of 29 for Corey Brown. Here's Nathan Price. It's just dried up the scoring a little here. That one prodded into mid-wicket, and Jacob Page, we'll see him with the bat a little bit later. Again, Price tightening up the scoring rate all of a sudden of the Kookaburras. Now we've got Josh Sim joining us. I'm not sure if your mic's on yet, Josh. Can you?
I hope it is.
And maybe it's not. Hang on a sec. Here's Price. Another good delivery. It's tied in on the pads. They scamper through for a quick single. But a super over from the Tigers skipper. Just 5 off it in the end. Gee, maybe a little high.
Yeah, just pitching outside leg too, I think. When the ball's a bit shorter, right arm to left arm. Right arm bowler, left arm bat, you've got to get it quite full to get it a pitching line. So McGann's coming in now for his second over.
Josh, can you hear me now?
I think I might. Do I have you?
Beautiful.
You've got me?
Josh Sims joining us in commentary up here at Number One Sports Ground. ABC Journo as well.
Thanks.
I'll give you your notepad as well. You've got that
that's
over
right.
here. That might be important for you. So the run rate just slowing down a little here for the Kookaburras. Pat McGann doing a good job. That one knocked away off the pads of Corey Brown.
It's good fielding.
It's important in this power play that they make sure they don't lose any wickets. As you see in the Big Bash the last couple of games, it's really important to keep those wickets after the first 6 overs, because if you lose 2 or 3 in the first 6, it's really going to make it hard. So they're doing what they need to do at the moment, the Cookers.
Pitched up from McGann, and again.
Little leg by.
It's really that first over where they got the fly, the Kookaburras. 12 runs off the James Beattie over. And now just slowly grafting their way back into it. And as you said, Josh, you talk about the need for runs for Toronto and not losing wickets. That's what Wallsend need right here and now. Little inside edge.
That's sort of length that you need to be bowling these early overs. Don't give the batsman anything to get underneath.
Did you notice on your walk over here the breeze? Is it sort of going right to left on the screen there, or is it swirling a little bit out there?
I think it is swirling. As you walk around, it's sort of it's hard to get a definitive direction.
Again, McGann really tightening up Jeremy Ford there, not giving him any room to move. So 1 ball left in this 4th over. just 9 runs in the last 1.5 overs. But now that the breeze has got up this afternoon, it is such a beautiful day for cricket. Sun setting just after 5 o'clock.
Traditionally in these games, the team batting first has had the advantage because of the light situation. Has in the previous years got dark quickly.
McGann. Now it's an interesting decision. They brought third man up and they're going to pay the price with a boundary. So maybe not the right decision. McGann put mid on back and brought third man up, and beautifully played through the gap by Corey Brown. He's had a wonderful start. Just relieves the pressure a little bit that was building on the Kookaburras.
Yeah, it was a pretty clever shot too, wasn't it? Just picked the gap nicely and used the pace of the ball and turned that into a fair over.
They'd be pretty happy with this at the moment, the Cookers. Number 34 off 4.
Nathan Price resuming again. And there'll be no run there. Ryan Brooks doing the clean-up work. Cut away hard. Wasn't able to be stopped by Beattie fielding there at point. Came pretty fast. Just the one for Jeremy Ford. And Nathan Price using two of himself and also Pat McGann early on. Big appeal, and he's given. So the first wicket down. That's a really, really important blow. And as you said, Josh, who else? Nathan Price gets the wicket. And Corey Brown, really good innings from him. Got them off to a great start in that first over. And that one adjudged LBW.
Smart bit of bowling there. Full and straight. Amazing how many times he gets wickets.
Number 12 for him this season, Nathan Price. And that looked pretty adjacent.
No need for Hawkeye there.
No need for Hawkeye. Were you concerned, Aaron, about where it was pitching at all?
Well, it's like I said before, it's got to be quite full right arm bowler, left arm bat, but obviously that looked close enough for me.
You had the finger up?
Don't know about that, but but that I could be biased.
We can accept that. You are wearing a Toronto shirt, so.
That's right.
So Joel Foster's come out to bat.
Yeah, so he's one of our imports from Manly, who's come up the M1 today. So obviously very appreciative of these guys giving us their time. But Joel's actually preparing. He's got a game in 2 Sundays at the SCG for a Ponting 11 versus a Gilchrist 11. So
you want to fine-tune his skills up, ready for that?
Yeah, well, you know, T20 cricket's quite unique. It's not something you can really, you know, the best practice is probably playing a game. So yeah, he's come up here with the intention of getting a bit of practice and hopefully doing well for us as well.
It's a good little partnership you've got there with Manly. Ben and I were talking about it before the game, actually.
Yeah, look, they've been incredible, to be honest. You know, the way they've embraced the partnership. Dave Gainsford down there is the sort of chief in forming that with myself. And but yeah, no, he's just been brilliant. That they come up now in September and have 2 weekend camps at our facilities. We're fortunate that we've got a full-time cricket facility out our way, and we're able to make that available for them. But yeah, it's just been incredible the way they've invested their time into making our club better as well. So we'll be forever grateful for this little partnership that's going. And yeah, them sending a couple of guys up here is just an indication of how committed they are to it.
Good delivery there from Nathan Price. Now at the end of this over, we're going to head down to the boundary right now. Chris is with Corey Brown.
Corey, good start to the innings there, mate, but not the key, losing the wicket towards the end of the power play.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, but yeah, me and Jeremy and Ford have had a pretty good partnership over the years, so we know each other's game pretty well, so we're just looking to tick it over, and yeah, it was a decent start.
Was it a targeted effort to go after James Beattie, the spinner, in the first over there, or just a few short and took opportunity?
Yeah, I saw it as an opportunity. He bowls, I've faced him a few times, and he does often bowl full, so I thought I'd target that short boundary, so yeah.
Aaron was making note up there, mate, that you're not renowned for a rapid strike rate.
Yeah, I've been probably striking around probably 15 per 100 balls this year, so it's been a tough year.
Brownie, you've got to be happy with striking at 131, don't you?
Oh, I never thought I'd do that.
Well, there you go.
Thanks to Corey and Chris on the boundary, and Chris will be joining us all afternoon, getting the insights from the batsman.
Thanks,
really good innings from Corey this afternoon to get things started for Toronto. And important, I was going to mention, if they did get through that without losing a wicket, that's 4 overs out of the attack for two of the Tigers' strike bowlers in Price and McGann. So really important that Price picked up a wicket there, as we see a change in the bowling, and it's Jacob Page who's just come into the attack and just nurdled down the ground by Jeremy Ford to get it all started.
Yeah, young Jacob Page come through the Maitland competition, come over from Raymond Terrace last year, where he was vital in them winning the premiership. So he knows about winning.
It's interesting here, they're just maybe trying to take the pace off a little bit, with McGann having a spell and saving 2 for later, but you know, I don't know much about this guy, but that first ball there indicates that he's probably just bowling, just trying to hit some good areas with some slow meds. Oh, it's probably a little bit better than slow med, but making our guys probably play a big shot to get some runs here in the last over of the power play.
Yeah, you're right. I would say he's just a bit better than a part-timer. He certainly wouldn't be one of their strike bowlers, but he's going to do that job, just play that role of the medium pacer or the 4th or 5th seamer and just get it up on a good length and hope that the batsmen make a mistake. So, I mean, almost a false shot there. So, it's very possible.
Yeah, 45 overs for him in the 2-day competition. So that sort of leads you to think he's a very, very solid bowler. 4 wickets, you know, come on and just give the main guys a break and trying to slow the scoring. He's doing a really good job of that. That's a great delivery right up in the block hole.
You can see that coming out the back of the hand. He's trying to do a few change-ups early, not try and get the batsman used to the pace of the ball.
Another good delivery.
It's been a really tidy over, actually. He's really put the ball on the spot. Captain be really happy with what he's given him so far.
There they are, the boys from Sports Castle, Chris and Jared. So looking forward to joining them a little later. Hopefully for your sake, Aaron, not too soon.
Yeah,
we'll field it off the bowling, because it will mean that Toronto will have lost a wicket. So that's the end of the over. 1 for 41 after 6. So that's the end of the power play. How do you rate that start?
Thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think 41's probably, again, maybe that par to maybe just under par after that start. I probably would have liked to hit the 50 mark, but yeah, look, they've got wickets in the shed, as we talked about earlier, so wickets in the shed for the last 14 means they can go a bit harder here, but there'll be more gaps now too, so pushing those 2s and throwing in the occasional boundary is the key now to getting the run rate up.
So James Beattie back into the attack.
Yeah, handy little run rate to start off with, as Aaron said. It's probably about par. When do you think, Aaron, someone like an Adrian Chadd comes in for to really push the run rate a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, well, we bat pretty deep today, so we've got Sam Gainsford there as well. I'm just looking over to see who's padded up. Looks like Ryan Fanning, he's padded up. Maybe Adrian's padded up as well. So yeah, they've probably got a floating order with some key targets for when they want certain guys out there. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I'd like to see Chatty probably get a chance to bat at least 10 overs. That gives him a chance to build what would be a T20 innings, but give him a chance to sort of maybe get a few rocks to get set before going big.
Can you tell the viewers what to expect from Gainsford?
Yeah, so Gaines is left arm orthodox spinner, but he also bats. He captains second grade down at Manly now for well, at least the last 2 years. So he's only 21, and mate, he's been mature beyond his years. Firstly, I mean, he's a great guy. Certainly very keen to see this partnership develop more and more. But he's got two paces with the bat, so he can poke it around as well. But he can also give him a good whack.
Okay, tidy start here from Beattie so far.
Really good start, especially after that first over where he was thumped around. 12 runs coming from it. And Corey Brown today, 21 runs. Ford currently on 13, and Joel Foster 3 not out. Foster on strike, goes for the reverse sweep, and he has played that well enough. Is the outfield quick enough not to reach the boundary?
It's good fielding.
Been speaking to some of your playing group actually, Aaron, and they say the new nickname for Jonathan Ford is for Jeremy Ford is Jono Ford.
Yeah, the Sports Castle guys.
That's well hit. Did he bail out there? Cole Bray on the fence. Going to be taking a dive.
It's a tough one coming forward, isn't it? Yeah, the Sports Castle guys, whether deliberately or not, have been referring to him as Jono Ford in their podcast. So we think it's added a little bit of comedy to the dressing room for us. So happy to have aliases like that.
That's the end of the 7th over, 1 for 46. Now the Sports Castle boys, I'm pretty sure they can hear us. Chris and Jared, can you tell us more about this nickname?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a mistaken identity, I think, with New South Wales Cup footballer Jono Ford, and we've just run with it. There's a few others we've picked up over time. University's Sam Logan, as well as been known by Scott as a misnomer from the Newcastle Herald a couple of times as well. So we've just run with them this year.
Love it.
And I'll just pick you boys up too. I haven't been joined by Jared today. I've actually got Wallsend's second grade fast bowler / first grader Trent Nash with me.
A new recruit, Benny.
Yeah, Trent Nash is down there, and that one well played by Jeremy Ford.
How did Trent go on the weekend?
It was a very average day for us, unfortunately. Aaron Wivel got away with a few chances and posted a very large score at the very small Wallsend Oval.
Did hear about that. 3 for 4 you guys had at one point. What were the thoughts at 3 for 4?
Here we go.
And then at stumps, what were the reflections?
Once again, the bowling group have done very well, but unfortunately we haven't been able to take our chances in the field.
Interesting. Sets up for a big game next week.
I notice, Trent, you still there?
Yeah, mate.
I noticed they mentioned in the Herald this week that it was a chanceless innings from Wivel, contrary to your advice just then.
I think that was a bit of a G up from Kingy.
Bit of an appeal there. Decent delivery from Jacob Page. We were talking about the last over from Jacob, really tightening up the Kookaburras again. Not giving Jeremy Ford any room there. Probably would have liked to whip that one away through square because there's no one there. Probably could knock a couple. That's exactly what he tried to do last ball. And they get back for 2.
He sort of bowls at that frustrating pace, Jacob Hay, just kind of not quick enough that it pings off the bat, but also it's not that slow enough that you can just dictate terms. So it's one at T20 level that is a frustrating pace to face, I think.
Ford just get on the end of it. Maybe a little bit quicker off the pitch there.
Yeah. Looked like it bounced a bit higher than what the batsman thought.
As you were saying, Josh, that frustrating pace where you don't have enough pace to work with. Difficult really to use the pace, and you've got to use a little bit more of your power. Happy just to push that one for a single forward. The second highest run scorer for Toronto in the 2-day competition this year. He started well thus far. 8 overs down, 1 for 52 for the Toronto Kookaburras. So we're nearing the halfway mark. What are you hoping to be at about 10 overs, Aaron, as a Toronto man? What do you see? A few matches I've seen here, 140. You know, we all know if you're bowling well enough, any score can be good enough. But 140 is a reasonable total. I know probably need about 18 off the next couple, which will be difficult because Beattie a little wide there, but he's bowling well now, getting into his groove.
Yeah, look, I think you can certainly win a game with 140 on the board if you bowl well and get that opportunity to build pressure. I just think, although the outfield hasn't necessarily been lightning, I think it is a tad quicker than previous years, and I also get the impression that maybe this wicket is not as grassy as previous years either. So, look, you might have to ask the batsman whether it's a bit up and down. It's obviously hard to tell from here, but they seem quite content ticking it over. But
it looks a lot browner, the wicket, from up here, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I went out and had a look because from side on, when I first got here, that greenness almost had a look of moisture about it, and I thought maybe they carry a bit of moisture in it with the hot days coming up to help it hold up and not get too crumbly or keep low as the week goes by. But it looks a good wicket. That's why I had par score 140, 160, 170. But you know, they say you probably double the score in T20 at the 12th over as a bit of a guide as to where you should end up. So, you know, if they can be at that.
This one probably will fall safe. Scoot up that one up in the air. And running in to do the fielding is Jacob Page from the cover fence.
So if they've got wickets in hand at the 12th over with 80 on the board, I think that'd be a reasonable position to be in.
Even run a ball puts you in the game at least, at the very least.
And again, sliced off the outside edge.
It just looks like they're not getting the pace of the ball at the moment.
Joel Foster on that occasion. Yeah, so both batsmen just struggling to knock it out of the middle. And Corey Brown, he's struck it as well. Probably the best of all three batsmen that have been out there thus far this evening. Beattie again, pitching it up.
I think the other thing too is I think the pink ball plays a part. Like those first 5 games at the start of the year is pink ball cricket, and they do behave a bit differently. They go a bit softer later in the innings, not so much in the T20, but they just behave a bit differently. So that's something that might be just a slight variance as well, being the first pink ball game for a couple of months. Neat little shot on the back of the jersey there from All Oz Plumbing. I'll just give them a shameless plug, but yeah, they look after us really well, and this year they're sponsored that kit you see them wearing, and help us with some developments at Ron Hill Oval with our new training facility. So they've been very welcome this year, and they've been fantastic for us. Steve Ratton and the boys.
It's one of the better looking kits going around in Newcastle cricket, the Toronto kit. You must be pretty happy with how they've come out.
Yeah, the players these days, well, certainly at our club, they're a bit more particular about that sort of stuff. So you throw it around and make sure everyone's, you never get full consensus, but you shortlist them too and let them go with one. But yeah, no, we think it's okay, and trying to keep with the traditions of our yellow and shining yellow gold and our black.
This one just guided by Jeremy Ford for a single. So Liam Taylor changing the bowling for Wallsend, coming on to bowl. Interesting decision because Jacob Page was bowling really well. A couple of overs just for 8 runs.
I think they might be saving him for overs, say 13 or 15, just before the last 4, where they can sneak a couple of cheap overs through again.
And I think we might be able to talk about this now as Foster just takes a little bit of a breather. In terms of pace at the end of an innings, it's a question. Another good delivery, just a single for Wallsend. It's a question these days whether you use pace near the end of an innings. Obviously batsmen are swinging the axe, and therefore an edge, bang, can go for 6. So whether it's worth using a medium pacer in those last couple of overs.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. Again, same sort of situation with spin. Do you use it because they've got to use the pace, but then again, the batsman can dictate terms depending on how the bowler bowls. So either way, you're looking at different advantages.
This one pulled away by Ford.
I think that's just skidded through a little bit. It's probably back of a length, and Ford was trying to get onto that with a pull shot straight up, but it's just hit the bottom half of that bat. So you wonder whether it is maybe a bit up and down the wicket.
And we were saying before, ball just shooting through or bouncing a little higher, and that one shooting through a little lower. So yeah, it could be a more difficult wicket to bat on than it looks.
Played some lovely shots so far, Foster.
Yeah, they're very good looking cricket shots, aren't they?
Very aesthetically pleasing.
So he's going about to run a ball. Ford's about 24 or 25 off just a fraction under 100 runs. 100 strike rate.
That one solidly as well, but only the one for Foster, and he is going at a runner ball at the moment, so you just think if he can release the shackles.
It's a tick under a runner, but at under 10 overs. Are we still thinking Gainsford in next at the moment, or?
Well, look, I'd probably like to see Chatty get out there. He's a fantastic, all form cricketer, but certainly short form. He can strike it around 140, 150 quite comfortably, and better if he gets hold of a few. So,
and he's just come off a T20 tournament win with the Bush Blues.
Yeah, he did actually, and he just a few cameos coming in for them late in the innings. But yeah, Ryan Fenning's there too, so he's another guy where if he comes in now, he probably look to bat the 10 overs and go some guys bat around him. But yeah, look, wickets in the shed. There's a few blokes that can probably have a bit of a go later in the innings if needed. But yeah, Gainsford as well. I think him and Fenning are two guys that probably can control that innings really well. So either one of them next, and maybe Chatty after that.
Here's that pace you're talking about, Ben.
Yeah, so Pat McGann, he switched ends. Nathan Price swinging him around. Has that got to do with the breeze at all?
I think you might be right. As I said, it feels like it's swirling around a bit, and maybe it's favouring him on this end now.
It feels like, to us, it's coming from right to left of where Pat McGann's going to be bowling. So we bring it in here to Joel Foster and away from Ford. He had a great afternoon as they just dashed through Gainsford for, I should say Foster for the single. great afternoon against Toronto. That was in round 4 of the 2-day comp. 4 for 35 he took to knock them over for 181.
That was just before Christmas too. Really close game, won by Wallsend by 34 runs.
I should say 147 it was. 9 for 147 they ended up on Toronto.
Yeah.
And as we were saying, we were talking with Aaron. I was talking with Aaron about this before the match. It was a big upset because Wallsend sitting 8th on the table, Toronto right up the top in 2nd. So not an expected result. And Pat McGann had a huge role to play that afternoon in getting the Tigers the result. He was hit for 16 off his 2 overs earlier, so maybe a change of ends could bring a change of fortunes for him. Better start here.
I wonder if Foster would have faced him much playing down in Sydney. Obviously, Pat coming from Randwick Petersham in a couple of seasons. Foster at Waratah. At Manly, sorry, the Waratahs.
That one is blasted down the ground straight into the waiting arms of Kyle Bray. Long off. And how difficult also is it to go from playing 2-day on the weekend to come and play 2020 cricket? Bowling wise especially, just changing things up, not bowling that same length and changing it up, varying your pace. Sliced off the edge, they are going to go through for a single. Gee, that would have been tight.
Yeah, it's been a common theme, especially in the Big Bash the last couple of weeks. Players coming back from test duty to go straight into their Big Bash side. It's a big change to go from having to play patiently and wait deliveries out for the right delivery to play a shot at, and then all of a sudden you've got to go out from ball 1. And then, as you say, the same thing with bowlers.
No run there.
Oh, would have been out of his ground there.
They're living dangerously at the moment.
Yeah, Jeremy Ford backing up a long way.
Aaron, do you think they might have had a conversation at the end of the over? Perhaps they need to start pushing a few more singles?
Yeah, look, I think so. And also they probably, they probably getting a feel for the conditions now. And maybe they're realising boundaries are a little harder to come by. Wallsend's bowling well. It's a good shot.
Gee, that wouldn't have tickled. Smashed him in the boot.
So I think now singles probably do become super critical to keep that strike rate going. Oh, it's hit him in the back foot almost.
At the end of the 11th over, 1 for 68. And it's probably not surprising that Pat McGann's gone for a few runs this afternoon. He's actually the most expensive of their top line bowlers in the 1-day competition, went at 5.3 and over their 3 Tom Locker Cup matches. So maybe that pace just counting against him in the shorter formats.
Yeah, that can happen, I think, especially with your quicker bowlers.
So Liam Taylor resumes. Off the outside edge. Very edgy at the moment from Toronto. Aaron, I'm thinking Corey Brown's going to have a lot to say to you post this match. The way he struck it out there.
No, it's exquisite, wasn't it? He'd be glad that one's on tape, actually.
Made it look like a road. Really good delivery from Taylor. You're not going to score many runs with those kind of deliveries.
Bowled a very smart plan, haven't they? I think it's it's a mixture of probably varying your pace just a fraction, but with Liam Taylor, I'm not so sure it's about rolling fingers and so forth. He just changes almost the amount of effort he puts in through the shoulder in the actual delivery. So, but that Yorker was certainly a yard quicker. Oh, it's tight.
And Joel Foster had to rush through to reach his ground there, but that was such a lovely shot from Ford. Just guided it over the top of the field. In the end, only 2, but It's important for Toronto. Just keep it ticking over. So we're coming up to your 12th over, all-important 12th over, Aaron.
It's another lovely shot, isn't it?
Just for one.
Just wonder if our sideline eye can maybe just duck down to the marquee there and just see what they think a past score here is at the 12th over, and possibly what they're looking to get at the end of the 20.
Yeah.
We'll get Chris and Trent onto the job. I'll be onto it. Taylor again. Oh, tempted ramp there. And an appeal. Was there an appeal as well as it struck him on the boot? I don't know how much bat was in that. Ryan Brooks doing the fielding. Wallsend keeper. There it is. Come off the leg.
Gee whiz. Yeah, it's come off the inside leg.
Maybe he needs to practice that one a little bit more, Joel Foster. The dill scoop or the ramp, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, might want to find out who they think's coming in next. We have had a couple of discussions about that. Wonder if
we might head over to Chris at the end of this over. Again, Taylor really jamming up the Manly batsman, Joel Foster. And just checking the score at the other match, the CB's taking on Western Suburbs, and they are 2 for 73 after 10 overs in that one at Harker Oval. That's a decent start for the Black Roses. We'll head down to the boundary, 1 for 73 off 12. Chris, what's the latest on this batting order for Toronto?
Looking like at the moment we've got Adrian Chadd and Dylan Robertson padded up down the front of the marquee there. The boys are talking amongst themselves. They just said to Trent, looking at a total in the 140s, they'd be pretty happy with at this stage.
Thank you, Chris. That goes along with your thinking, Aaron. 76 and double it, 12 overs, so 152 if they can really ramp up the scoring rate now. As we see Kyle Bray come into the attack, his first over of the afternoon. He's taken 4 wickets in the 2-day competition.
interesting with Dill Robertson padded up there, Aaron. Is he a noted hitter?
Yeah, look, he hasn't fired too much for us yet this year, but we know what he's capable of. He got a pretty handy 45 a few games back now, but yeah, he is. He hit 600 runs on the Central Coast last year, so certainly can bat. And yeah, you wouldn't say he likes to stick around too long. He likes to get in them early. So
there's that ramp shot again there, Ben.
He's perfected it. Maybe not completely perfect, but it's gone to the boundary for 4, and that's all you can ask for.
I dare say where he wanted it to go probably wasn't there.
Oh, I think you guys have sold him short. I reckon he's got down on the ramp and hit it as fine as he could and got 4 runs for it.
As they say, they don't draw pictures in the scorebook.
And that one well played. Only the one, though, because James Beattie was probing around the boundary rope. Really good start to this over.
Just talking about Dill Robertson, he's one of the 2 boys you've brought up from Central Coast along with Ryan Fenning. How did that come about?
So there's actually 3 too. Brendan Charlton, he's flown in under the radar a little bit. But yeah, look, yeah, that come about. So Mitch Coombs, we used to play, he played some T20 stuff for us a little while ago, and we asked him, oh, that's a good shot.
Really well played. 1 bounce and excellent fielding on the rope. Will be whipped in.
It's a beautiful bit of fielding. Lovely shot.
Off. It was Pat McGann out there, I'm pretty sure. Big fast bowler.
Let's have a look here on the replay.
I think it's that.
Yeah, it was.
And an edge on that one. And the second wicket down. A disappointing end for Jeremy Ford. But it will bring Aaron Chadd to the crease, you would expect. We'll have a quick glance. And it will bring Adrian Chadd, I should say, to the wicket. The main man for the Kookaburras. What a season he's had. 302 runs in the 2-day competition. And he'll be looking for a big score
I'm looking forward to Chris's interview with John O'Ford. Really interesting.
How do you think you'll feel about that innings? Obviously, probably just couldn't get going.
Well, look, to be quite honest, he got hit in the head twice on Saturday, so I think he was probably a little bit rattled. So I think it's good for him to get a bit of confidence out of today. He's been opening the batting all year, which is something a little different for him in his role for the club. He's been doing really well, and these, that's better than a cameo in T20. But while he had Brownie striking at 200 at the other end, he's probably happy to go at just under a run a ball. So, but yeah, look, we've got plenty of batting, so I guess the wicket's not the worst thing to happen right now. Get some fresh legs out there.
Adrian Chad now gets the better part of 7 overs to bat.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see his approach.
And he'll get it wide first up. Important wicket as well for Wallsend.
As you find in T20 cricket, a wicket always halts momentum a little bit, so the Tigers will be fairly happy with that.
And Chad's off the mark. Didn't take him long. There we go. He's heading up Jeremy Ford to chat with the boys. We'll head there in one delivery. And Adrian Chad will just want to turn his T20 form around. He didn't have a great spell during the Kingsgrove Sport T20 rep competition. Well played by Foster and well fielded as well. Quick spin and a little bit of confusion out there between Chad and Foster. Really well fielded by Montgomery. And we'll head to the boundary. Chris and Trent are there with Jeremy Ford.
Yeah, joined by Jeremy, aka Jono Ford. How's the deck playing out there, mate? You look like you're just starting to settle in.
Oh, I've run out of petrol, to be honest. It's quite warm out there and a lot of sweat. But the deck's playing quite well. There's not much swing with the ball either, so once they rolled their fingers a couple, they purchased a little bit, and yeah, they got a little bit out of the wicket that way.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of variation out there, ball to ball.
Yeah, and I don't know, if bowlers roll their fingers across it or out the back of their hand, that'll be quite good on this deck, so it's probably something we'll look to do when we're bowling.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think is a defendable total from here?
Oh, shivers. What are we?
2 for 86. 7 to come.
I'd take 150.
150?
With the batting that we had in the sheds, 150, 160 is definitely on the cards. Chatty coming off some good form with the New South Wales stuff, so that could be interesting if he gets going. And then we've got Fenno coming in as well, who's quite good at T20 cricket, so yeah.
Thank you, boys. Good knock from Jeremy Ford.
Seemed a little puff.
Yeah, well, as I probably alluded to at the end of my little summary, I think fresh legs out there is pretty key at the moment. And T20 cricket zaps you. You're batting for 12 overs or nearly 13 overs. And there hasn't been a heap of boundaries, so that 80, a good chunk of that's been run. So we're probably fortunate to be in the shade with the breeze here too.
34 off 39 for Jeremy Ford. As you mentioned, not many boundaries as well. They've pretty much been running a couple or dashing through for the singles here and there. So it's been tough work. And Jacob Montgomery bowling at the moment for Wallsend, his first over. Is this an opportunity here for Joel Foster? See if he can get hold of one. Decides just to knock it through for a single.
Drop catch.
Yeah, Chad really swinging into that one.
Is that a sign of his intentions?
Well, I think he knows he's got batting in the shed. I mean, there's guys we haven't even mentioned yet. Josh Westwood and the like. These guys can all bat. So Brendan Charlton too, the other guy from the Central Coast we're talking about, he gives them a bit of a whack. So probably keen up the ante just a touch.
Oh, he's one off the outside edge. He's lucky again there, Foster.
Talk about Josh Westwood. He was in incredible form in the one-day stuff. I think he scored a number of 50s in a row.
Yeah, 3 I think, or 4 in total. So yeah, that gives you an indication. He doesn't mind the pink ball, and certainly can certainly bat.
Well, Chad, instead of opting for the heave-ho on that occasion, just the reverse sweep. So maybe just putting it in the locker for that final delivery of the 14th over. 2 for 92. Run rate of 6.6. You'd maybe want to see that around 7 by the completion of the innings. Aaron? 48 runs off 6 overs. Is that doable to get to 140?
Oh, definitely. I think 10 and overs are achievable from here on in. So, yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone can actually get hold of them in front of the wicket here. They're all opting to go behind square. So, I don't know, that's telling me that either the wicket's a bit slower or the ball's a bit softer than we've probably been feeling the last few weeks.
So Kyle Bray bowling the 15th over, and then they've got 5 overs left. So Nathan Price has got a couple, McGann has 1, Jacob Page still has 2, and Liam Taylor, he's bowled pretty tightly, 2 overs for 10. He's got 2 overs as well, so plenty of options. I'm pretty sure Price is going to bowl himself for a couple, so he's probably got about 3 overs left to work with. Does he go Page and McGann? Liam Taylor maybe?
I dare say Price will go 18 and 20, so...
Do you think Pat McGann will get another over based on his 3 have gone for 20? Most expensive as Ray right up in the block hole. Just couldn't regather.
Is that fresh legs for you?
They've got 5 after this one. I'd be tempted to have 2 from Price and 2 from Page if I was...
He really impressed, didn't he, Jacob Page?
Yeah.
Tidy stuff. 2 overs.
And I think he bowls that pace and that length on this wicket that's able to be tidy, especially in a T20 game.
Yeah, 2 overs for just 8. And Price 2 overs, 1 for 7. Decent length from Bray. And they are really running hard here, Chad and Foster.
Liam Taylor's bowled well too.
He has. Yeah, 2 overs for 10 for Liam Taylor.
So, in answer to your question, I don't know that McGann will.
And I think we've seen it. It's a pitch which probably helps the slower bowlers a bit more. Another quick single.
I'll ask Aaron, do you think Adrian Chadd likes to use the pace a bit more? Would he prefer a Pat McGann to, say, a Jacob Page?
No, look, I don't think it bothers Chaddy, to be honest. He'd be happy to take on either the quicks or the slower. I guess I think the thing with Page is that he's at different pace, like he's in between the quick and say spinner. So it does make you work a little bit harder. But yeah, look, I think if you're just trying to hit the go for the spot in the boundary where there's no one, I guess you've just got to manipulate, and maybe that slower bowler's probably a bit easier to do that too. So I just haven't seen it yet this innings. Like, you're just seeing this over here, running a lot of hard twos. I think they've summed up the conditions, and maybe and credit to the bowlers. I think they're bowling good areas and bowling to their field.
So final ball of the 15th. Hit that one well, straight at the man. Brett Jackson, former New South Wales second 11 player. We'll see him a little bit later on, doing the fielding there at cover.
Yeah, a couple of former second 11 players with him and Price.
So it will be Montgomery to continue. So there you go, 4 overs. So Price with a couple from this near end, you would suspect. That's where he bowled his first two from. Beautiful afternoon for a bit of cricket, sitting down in the shade. Got the dogs out as well. And Adrian Chad, surely he's going to tee off here with the slow Montgomery bowling. At least have a go with just 5 overs left in the innings. And as you said, batting to come. Really angled that one in. Plenty of pace on that one from Montgomery. Fired it in.
Just checking in on the score over at Harker Oval. You've got the Black Roses 3 for 93 after 14 overs. Looks like 2 fresh sort of batsmen at the crease with Sharma and Bills.
It's a good spot to be in for the Black Roses with Sharma at the crease. We've seen what he can do in the 2-day competition already this season. He's thrown a couple of hundreds under a run of ball.
Interestingly, Joe Price has got 3 overs to go, so probably see him bowl out the death here, which
I would dare say so.
Getting on with it could be a challenge.
Again, really firing that one into the pitch, Montgomery. Not giving Adrian Chad any time to work with it. And this time Chad gets hold of it and absolutely smacks it. Oh, and it's hit the scorers, hit the glass on the scorers box as it put a little dint in there. It hasn't gone through. The glass was solid enough to hold on, but I'm not sure if he shattered it. Didn't he get a real piece of that? Again, really fired in by Montgomery. Does he go again? He tries.
I think he's made his intentions pretty clear here.
Just what the doctor ordered for Toronto. What a start to the season he had. First couple of rounds. 102 in round 1 against Charlestown and then against Stockton. 63 and 46 not out with the bat. Now pulls out the reverse sweep. Beatty is there to do the fielding at third man, I should say. Two for 108 after 16.
Here we go. Nathan Price back on.
So 2 overs previous, 1 for 7. Took the wicket. The men were impressed by Corey Brown. Struck the ball so nicely. 21 off 16 and had him out leg before. Just following the batsman, Adrian Chad.
I'm surprised he bowled on the 16th. I thought he may have wanted to bowl the last, but as you said, he bowled from this end and had success, so it may have had something to do with it.
So they talk about on the Big Bash, so greater experts than me, but you hear Ponting and that talk a lot about the 17th, 18th and 19th over. So I wonder whether that's crept into Pricey's thoughts here, or maybe he's going to keep McGann for the 20th.
He is an astute thinker of the game, Nathan Price, so you may be onto something there.
Well, he's played a lot of T20 cricket, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think one thing they talk about a lot is momentum at the end of an innings. You know, you may not have batted that well, but if you can knock 20, 30 from the last 2 overs, you go into the sheds with your heads high.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. It's so important.
It's good running.
And we'll get 2. And in contrast to that, if you can pick up 2 or 3 wickets in the last 2 overs, all of a sudden the bowling team goes in feeling a lot better about themselves. So that's a massive impact, even though there is that break. Foster away. Fielder there at square leg by Jacob Page, who has bowled 2 overs. Could we see him again? 2 overs for 8, so potentially he could be an option for Nathan Price from the northern end of number 1 Sports Ground. The captain now bowling. And this one straight up in the air from Foster. And the skipper won't drop that. An important wicket just to stall the momentum of the Kookaburras more than anything.
Dylan Robertson coming to the crease.
One of your Central Coast products?
Yeah, and interestingly another left-hander, so maybe they're looking at the left and right-hand tactic out there. I did notice some movement down in the dugout there just prior to that wicket falling, so coach down there, Tim Cox, has maybe just got a few other options padding up. But it's a critical little period now because new batsmen in, you really don't have any time. Like even every ball, you've got to be looking to score. So,
and as Ben mentioned just moments ago, you don't want to ruin that momentum going into the bowling part of your innings.
Yeah, that's right. As Ben mentioned, I think it's critical.
And maybe just a slow ball there from Nathan Price. He was through that shot a lot earlier than what he would have liked, Joel Foster. Such a crafty bowler, Tigers captain. So what can this man do? And Adrian Chad has thumped that one for another maximum. His second of the innings. Watch out on the hill. Hope you two haven't parked up there because Adrian Chad is striking them quite nicely.
I know what these boys are capable of, especially Nathan Price and Adrian Chad, so I made sure my car is well away.
It's an interesting match up there with Price bowling to Chad, and you'll probably see that a bit later on, but these two played a lot of rep cricket together this year, and they were also joint players of the year last year in the Newcastle competition, so it's a key matchup.
I was just going to say that, yeah, shared the trophy last year.
Well, the boys from Sports Castle, they are now with Joel Foster. Over to you now, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Joined by Joel Foster, mate. Looks like a bit of a variable pace out there. Slower one got you?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Hard to get a hold of, so thought just accumulate a little bit there in the middle and try make it back up in the last couple overs.
How do you find it, mate? You wouldn't have seen too much of these guys that you're facing?
Yeah, standard's really good. A couple of boys came up here last year, so it was a really good standard, so I was really looking forward to come up, and yeah, it was really good fun.
How'd you find it in all in the middle?
What was that, sorry?
How'd you find it all in the middle? How's the pitch playing?
Yeah, it's not pretty good actually. Got a fair bit of grass on it, so a couple of skidding through. Yeah, but it's a pretty good pitch all in all.
Another wicket there for your side, mate. Not the ideal way to be finishing this innings.
Yeah, it's all right. It can happen in these back end when you got wickets in hand and a bit of time to slog.
He's got Fenning going out there. He's got a set of guns on him, mate. He can swing.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it. Hopefully he can clear the pickets.
All right, lovely, mate. What do you think? 3 overs to come. What's going to be a suitable total?
I think anything there around the 150 mark we should be able to defend if we bowl well, so yeah.
Plenty of wickets in hand, mate. 10 and over from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, lovely, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Too easy, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Joel. And as that interview is taking place, that is what Pat McGann can do. That one kept very low, and Dylan Robertson out for a first baller.
Yeah, wow. Didn't that keep low?
Knocking the stump out of the ground. Terrific delivery. We were umming and ahhing as to whether Nathan Price would bring McGann back into the attack after an expensive first few overs, but that's what he can do for you late on against a new batsman as well. It's hard to adapt to the pace that he bowls at for the first few deliveries of your innings.
Ryan Fenning out now. Another Central Coast boy.
He's facing up and just is able to guide that one to short third man. Kyle Bray is patrolling that particular area of the ground. Really good start here from McGann. But now comes the real test.
Yeah, well, we just saw what Adrian Chad can do against quality bowling.
Gave himself some room.
Oh,
And
doesn't
he's
pick
gonna
it
have
up at fine, Luke.
Yeah, he's going to have some work to do. Racing around Page. That's a tough throw into the wind.
Just a quick update at Harker Oval. The Black Roses have slowed a little to 4 for 114. So Brett Aldous done the damage so far. 4 overs, 3 for 16 with the ball, and a couple of new. Oh no, Sharma's still going with the bat for the CBs. So, well, the Black Roses. Sorry, he'll be critical for close it out for him now.
How many overs left there?
We've got 3 after this.
Okay.
So similar.
Yeah, they'll be looking for that 150, I'd imagine.
So Sharma's 35 of 26 at the moment, so he looks set. Shannon Bills, I think it is. It's just gone in there.
Oh, man, it looks set. Is this man on strike? And, wow, he's so unlucky. Again, hasn't got anything on it, so no worries for his batting partner at the other end, Ryan Fanning.
He could very easily have been run out there. Just a fingertip is all it takes.
It's just actually going to check the score in the ODI at the moment. Maybe you've got that on and checking out the NCC Summer Bash as well. McGann. Australia finishing up. Couple of balls left. 1 ball left in the innings. 9 for 292. Sean Marsh with 131.
He's in some sort of form in the one-day comp, but can't seem to score a run in Test cricket.
There's a lot of talk about the way he plays in one days. Is he actually comes out and tries to score runs, whereas in Test matches he comes out and tries to survive for the first 20 balls. It's McGann. Full toss, and Chad takes full toll. There's another maximum.
Another way. Wow. That's a flat hit.
Yeah, he did well to get the distance. The wind would have helped as well. Went from that direction behind the strike. And that flew. Look at that camera work. Beautifully done.
If Chad keeps going like this, they may have to reassess the target that they're looking at. 150 may be.
He's the key, isn't he?
Maybe 160.
Get that one well too, and it's perfectly in between the man at mid-on and long-on. And they get back for a couple.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, 160, or if they can push 165, be incredible effort from here.
There's Matt Lynch. May see him with a bat as well later for the Tigers.
So you've got 12 balls left. You're probably striving to hit as many boundaries as you can, but realistically, what do you think? How many boundaries can you hit off the last 12 balls, do you think?
From what we've seen, if you get any more than 3, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah. So 3. There's one maybe as a 6. There's
16.
Yeah.
I always try and think about it from the
14,
perspective as if you're. I'll come back to it after this. Ball from Price. That one really rose up off the pitch. From the perspective of, say, you're the chasing team, how many runs are you theoretically thinking you could get off 11 balls if you were chasing? And you probably, you're probably not out of the question thinking 24 is reasonable off, double the amount of balls you're facing.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too, yeah. So,
because I always think when you're batting first, you've somehow underestimated, but when you're chasing, you're watching your team or trying to defend a score, and you think 24 off 12, normally the batting side will win most times. And there's a little edge on that one, big edge on that. Nathan Price picks up another wicket. He is the chief destroyer for Wallsend this afternoon. Ryan Brooks with another catch. Pretty regulation.
That's a huge wicket. Adrian Chad, they would have wanted him to spend most of the time out in the crease, and with 10 balls left, they've got two fairly new batsmen out there. It's going to make that boundary hitting all the more harder, isn't it, Aaron?
Well, I think that shortens the total up big time. But just in your theory, Ben, about the whole, if you're chasing, it's interesting, isn't it? There'd be a whole lot more pressure in the game at that stage. Fielders, bowlers would be under a lot more pressure, and as with the batsmen, because they know what they've got to do. It's a bit different now because, the bowlers will just be striving to have as little runs as possible scored off them and try and bowl really well to their fielders on the boundary and try and avoid those boundaries. And the batsmen, well, they're probably content, having a go, but if not, running really hard and getting twos. So, yeah, I think now after those 3 balls, I think 150 we'd be fairly happy with.
So Sam Gainsford is the new batsman. And Ryan Fenning facing up. Nice dropping that one short and just knocked away behind square.
As you mentioned with Gainsford before, he can go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't seen a whole heap of him play except in trials we played against him at the start of the year, but also last year his contributions were little cameos for us. But he's got 2 paces and he's a smart cricketer too. But yeah, certainly can hit a boundary, that's for sure.
If they can get 2 or 3 runs off the last 2 balls here, it's almost a win for him at the moment.
And that's well struck just over the infield. Get back for 2. Not enough for a boundary, but I'll appreciate that, Ryan Fenning. And that finishes Nathan Price's spell. What a spell it has been. And based on my calculations, 4 overs for 24 runs.
Very handy.
Five for 138.
Scorers have it at 137.
Have you been doing the scoring up here, Aaron, have you? Just added an extra run.
Where is it? I'll hit a few more times.
Go add 20 more.
So it will be Jacob Page for that last over.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier, about not having an out-and-out quick bowler last over. So I feel like when players are swinging the bat like there's no tomorrow, you get a little nick on a delivery from Pat McGann, and it is flying. So this just takes a little bit of pace off the ball. And it's Sam Gainsford who's got to come out and immediately put power into it. And they'll do well to get back for 2 here. They're not going to.
So just over at Harker Oval there, and heading into the last over, Sharma's still in, 47 off 33, and they're 5 for 129 with an over to go. And we talked about Price earlier. He didn't take a wicket, but he bowled his 4 for 26.
They, again, undecided, and it'll just be the 1 for Ryan Fenning.
Probably the right call both times this over. It's been very tidy, Jacob Page.
Yeah, Ryan Fenning, he's batted well for the Kookaburras, 3rd highest run scorer in the 2-day competition. And that one is struck beautifully by Sam Gainsford. What a lovely strike of the ball that was. The arc straight over long on. Just sit back and enjoy.
It's a beautiful release of the pressure too. First 2 balls, 2 singles. They get a dot or a single off that ball.
And again, he struck that one well. And it's straight down the throat of the man on the boundary, and that one, Matt Lynch taking it. And he's on his way. That's Sam Gainsford. He's done his job to 6 the previous ball. Just not quite enough on that one in the end. A little bit of a top edge as well.
Two boys just trying to hit that gap, wasn't he? A little bit squarer, and just didn't get around it quite enough.
2 boys from Maitland there combining for the catch. Matt Lynch from Eastern Suburbs in Maitland.
Fenning again, and they've got to get back for 2, and they do really well there. Good running. Again, I think they probably could have tried to run to earlier in the over. You put that pressure on the field, and you know it's difficult to inflict the run out because of the pressure you're putting on that fielding side. Everything has to go right. And he's going to have to bowl the last ball of the innings again.
Just one run and they get that 150 you're talking about, Aaron.
Yeah, the players were, yeah, so I'm probably wanting 160. Well, I said par was 160, so I think now 150, I'll give it a... I put Wallsend in the game with 150. I think, you know, they have two guys bat well. They can certainly chase that down, and they've got the batters to do it as well. So 160, is that just a little bit more breathing space? You know, that extra 10 runs can change things, particularly at the end of the game if you come down the last few overs. So. Anyway, time will tell.
Beautiful shot, last ball to pierce the gap, get the 2, 151 to set Wallsend 152.
Yeah, and I think this is a decent score. I know, Aaron, you're probably a little disappointed they didn't get to 160, but it really comes down to whether Nathan Price bats well for Wallsend and Toronto bowl well to him and try and knock him over early. I think he's the key man. If you can get him out early, I think you go a long way to winning the match.
Yeah, definitely. It's a total to defend, and I think you guys said, you know, 140 is a pass. So, you know, definitely defendable. I think 140 is still defendable, but yeah, it'll be a good run chase, and I'm looking forward to being in the box seat to watch it.
Yeah, and just going through the innings, so Corey Brown 21 off 16, Jeremy Ford 34 off 39, Foster 32 off 33, Adrian Chadd 31 off 19, Dylan Robertson a golden duck, Ryan Fenning 5 off 4, and then Sam Gainsford 2 off 2, not out at the end with Fenning. A lot of starts there, not going on. That's probably the difference between making 160 and making 150, maybe 160 plus, is having that one player that is in, and we're going to talk about Varun Sharma as we look at that score from the CB's match. Having a man that's there throughout the innings, he made 48 not out, is critical.
So yeah, they've finished 5 for 142 over there at Harker. So yeah, again, potentially around that par score of between 140 and 160, and I guess it's an even game. But obviously they've got some explosive batsmen in their line-up over with West, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes over there as well.
Looking at these midweek games historically, though, the team that bats first has generally gone on to win the match, so it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues this year.
Well, we will take a quick break. As you said, the lights really come into that, and I think we can discuss that further as Toronto get ready to come out and have a bowl. They're going through their fielding drills as we speak. We'll be back in about 10 minutes' time, 10-15 minutes' time for the commencement of Wallsend's innings. We'll catch you then.
Hi, I'm Nick from Wallsend Tigers. We're going to catch up with a few of the guys, see what their season's up to.
Yeah, I got Matty Lynch here, new to the club this year. Where'd you come from, Matty, before you come down here?
I'm originally from East Maitland.
Okay, I've got Newcastle's shortest wicket keeper, Ryan Brooks, with me. Ryan, how you going, mate?
Good, thanks, Nick.
That's good. Mate, how you been going this season?
Oh, we've been pretty average, to be fair. Got back from England, so a bit rusty, but hopefully a good after Christmas.
Yeah, fair enough. Who's the biggest, out of all the Wallsend teammates, who you reckon's the biggest pest hanging around?
Oh, it's got to be Ben Herring. Mate, he's a dead set pest. Always hanging around, doesn't train, just talks rubbish.
Yeah, I'm Liam Taylor from Wallsend District Cricket Club. Got our skipper Nathan Price with us. Serious one first up. How do you think we're going to go in these 2020s this year?
Well, I'm pretty confident we're going to do really well. The squad we've got, we're saying a decent amount of form, we'll do pretty well. We're obviously in a quite hard tour, so the first couple of games will be pretty crucial for us to get off to a start and do really well.
We've seen you in the nets and you're a bit of a power packet. I'm just wondering what in the T20s this year, 120 strike rate, 130?
Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. I don't really see that game off a lot. But yeah, let's see how we go. Stuck in for a 110 strike.
Mate, I've seen you bowl in the nets and you're quite handy. Who's been your biggest scalp that you've claimed in the nets?
I'd like to say I've probably got Pricey once or twice, but he won't admit it.
Who is the worst person you've ever got out to in the nets here? Brooksy has to be up there, but I think a certain Pakistani might have got you out at one stage.
Well, I heard a rumour that Brooksy's claiming that he got me out, which I can flatly deny. But yeah, Zub knocked me over a couple of training sessions ago, an absolute C. I would have copped it on the chin and then he sprayed me too, which I wasn't too impressed with, but nah, Zub for sure.
Yeah, there's a few blokes in first grade getting picked on rig-based selection only, and we just want to know which ones they are. Who's got the best rig in first grade?
I'd say James Beattie.
No! This is an audition. Give it some. Oh. Put it right in the hot spot. Yeah! Woo! That looks like a big one up. Oh, that is... Give your thought. Why did you go decent? That's great! I'm going to have a replay on that. You let it stick up. They're on. That's yourself. Yeah! Thank you, Gibbons. Woo!
Welcome back to number 1 Sports Ground, round 1 of the Newcastle City Council Summer Bash. And it is perfect conditions this afternoon with a nice easterly blowing, cooling things down after a warm day in the Hunter region. And Toronto have set the Tigers 152 to win. Griffin Lee is opening the bowling for the Kookaburras. And a good delivery first up to Nathan Price, the Tigers skipper. He's going to be a key, isn't he, Josh?
He is their key man, I think, tonight. If he scores, if he goes on to make a big score, you'd have to think the Tigers win. He's been in incredible form over this year in the 2-day and the 1-day competition. So they'll be hoping for another big performance from Nathan Price tonight.
Over towards the light tower. Facing us.
So Lee versus Price, and one wide. Now, the target is 151. Just double check that with the scorer. So 151 the target for the Tigers.
Aaron must have snuck an extra run in there while
what's
we're away.
he doing? Is he? We've got to keep an eye on him. He'll be joining us shortly, the Toronto president, Aaron Gray. Looking forward to getting him back up here. Here he is, the young quick. And again, he goes to ground after holding the ball, which shows he's just maybe a little off balance in his delivery stride.
Yeah, interesting.
Losing a bit of grip as well. The pitch, fairly hard. Maybe his spike's just not going in.
Pat Cummins had that problem early in his career where he just couldn't find the balance in his delivery stride and fell over a number of times.
Do you remember the Hobart Hurricanes player, Jack Reed, I think his name was? He went down in a huge heap. You know, on YouTube, I remember it. I'm pretty sure the Hurricanes were playing My Thunder. I'm not 100% sure if that's correct, but Jack Reed was the fast bowler. Came in and just went crashing to the ground. It was like he was bowling on concrete. The spikes just did not go into the pitch at all. I'll try and see if I've got it on YouTube.
Yeah, it happens in their delivery stride, especially when the front foot doesn't quite make contact and it finds the side of the boot and then it can slide on.
And that one a full toss from Griffin Lee, but Nathan Price cannot take advantage of it. And massive difference between this first over from Griffin Lee and the first over from the Wallsend perspective when they were bowling. James Beattie was hit for 12. They were none for 21 off the first 2 overs.
Well, that sets up a brilliant platform to begin your innings with. It won't be as easy with Griffin Lee bowling, former Australian under-19 representative.
And that one struck well by Price. The men in for the power play, and that is a boundary much needed after a tight start. None for 5 off the first over.
Didn't quite get it as he probably would have liked, Nathan Price. Just a little, probably a little high on the bat. I think we've got an extra ball here, Ben.
We have. There was a wide earlier in the over, so... I
think there may have been 2.
There was. You're right. Spot on. Yeah, there was 2. So final ball of the first over. And Price, that struck well. Doesn't have the pace, the outfield, to take it all the way to the fence. Gee whiz. May even have to have a quick squeeze at that. I know the umpires don't use our replays, but gee, what? I thought that could have been 4.
I'll have to have another look at that, I think.
And there's still one more delivery to come.
Okay.
Here we go. Beautifully hit by Price. And here's Lee in again. And that one is the final delivery of the first over. It felt like it went for an age. And in the end, not a bad result for Wallsend. None for 8.
Yeah, we were talking about...
Here it is. So was it 4 or not?
Joel Foster making chase.
And Adrian Chad just behind him. Here we go. I thought it was 4. And I think, based on the replay, that was 4. I thought his torso was... Yeah, Josh is saying it's a 4, Josh Mason on the He's doing all that tech work. Wonderful job by the boys down the end from Bar TV tonight.
Making us look good.
They are. Oh, they make us look good all the time.
So here we got Dill Robertson.
Yeah, didn't have a great night with the bat, but that's the best thing about being an all-rounder.
Can change very quickly.
Well, the worst thing about being an all-rounder is you could get struck for a few as well, and then you have a terrible night. So
the night could go from bad to even worse.
He's had a great season, Dill Robertson. 13 wickets in the two-day competition, 16 across the one-days as well in the Tom Locker Cup. He's their leading wicket taker.
Great thing about Dill Robertson too is he bowls some absolutely massive spells. So 4 overs here, that won't bother him a bit.
A bit like Ravi Ashwin in the first test in Adelaide, and even Nathan Lyon got up there as well. He had to bowl plenty of overs in those last 2 test matches.
I think in one of Pujara's innings he bowled over 50, which is an ODI innings himself.
Robertson. Squeezed away, just backward of point.
Well stopped out there, Griffin Lee. And Aaron's joined us back in the commentary box.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's dinner time.
That one struck straight and hard at Joel Foster.
No problem.
How was dinner? What did you have?
Mate, over in the canteen there, if anyone's listening, they've got some amazing food on. They've got pulled pork rolls and American-style hot dogs.
And well taken.
That's a big wicket.
That's a huge wicket. Joel Foster with the catch, and it is Dylan Robertson. He's been the main man for the Kookaburras this season. That is a critical wicket.
That'll ease the
Toronto.
pain. That'll ease the pain of the duck earlier on.
Yeah, it brings that pass score down now too. You know, I think that's a big wicket for Toronto, definitely, on the basis that Pricey could have got real powerful there and gone 70 or 80 and put us under real pressure. So yeah, big one for the boys.
As we were just mentioning earlier, it's just been so crucial to the Tigers campaign in both the one-day and the two-day competition so far this season. So that's a huge wicket, and somebody else now is going to have to fill the void for the Tigers.
Across the 2 competitions this year, 584 runs. That's not including that Kingsgrove T20 Cup, where he also scored 140 runs at 35.
And he's leading the Player of the Year again this season, so chance to go back-to-back for him.
And he tied last year with Adrian Chadd, who he's up against this afternoon.
Just want to finish the plug, if you don't mind, for the canteen. It was a good reason to hold that, but just to round that out, the ladies over there doing a tremendous job, and for the modest crowd in here, they're all well fed and plenty of cold drinks. So thanks to them, hard-working volunteers. Yeah, can't find them easily these days.
No, you can't. Wonderful. And that's swept beautifully behind square.
You can see a couple of punters have arrived after work, beer in hand. No better way to end the day, watching a bit of cricket.
Yeah, and it's cooled off a bit too, hasn't it? So it's a nice evening here. The lights are on, so that's a bit of atmosphere.
Yeah, it's actually quite pleasant here now, as opposed to about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Couldn't have asked for a better start from Jacob Montgomery. Hasn't scored massive amount of runs in the 2-day competition.
Got a change straight away. Joel Foster coming in. Can you tell us much about his bowling?
Mate, yeah, he bowls extremely smart bowler. He's an absolute student of the game, I'm told, and very, very handy all-rounder. Plays first grade at Manly now regularly. He's in the pathway system for New South Wales under-19s. Like I said, he's been picked up in these teams at the Ponting and Gilchrist 11 to play at the SCG. So he's well thought of. But yeah, very smart bowler, medium fast. Swings the ball a little bit, but yeah, I think it'll be his smarts that adds real value here.
So he's only a young man?
Yeah, he's under 19s.
Yeah.
So he played in the National Carnival this year for New South Wales Metro.
Yep.
Yeah, so
They won the tournament, didn't they? No, Country won the tournament.
Country did,
Country
yeah.
won the tournament.
Yeah.
That's right. Belmont's Toby Gray did the double with the under-17s and the 19s.
Oh, almost chopped back on there by Anthony Young.
Been a tidy over from Foster so far.
It's one of the things too for any import at any team. You know, the local guys don't know much about them, and obviously, you know, if you're playing T20 cricket at first grade in Sydney, you're going to have your smarts about you playing against, you know, big bash players and all the rest. So. I think he captained the Manly PG side on Sunday as well. So he's well thought of. Oh.
It was a very risky run.
Tight, very tight single that throw a little wayward from Chad in the covers.
He just got a bit caught out. Wasn't sure which end he wanted to throw there, I think. You just see here he balks at the bowler's end and then decides keeper's end. It actually looks quite ugly in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the way he's set up, he's gone non-striker and then changed decision at the last moment.
Foster.
Because you won't be looking when they hit it.
Has timed that one well. And they will come back for two. Throw a little high and wide and gave Jeremy Ford too much to do in the end.
Jeremy Ford, former gloveman. How's he going in the field now?
No, well, Jeremy Ford is a gloveman. He's still there. That was Westwood that chased the ball
sorry.
in. Sorry,
You're
yeah.
right.
That's we'll let Sports Castle make those errors, mate.
Yeah, we will.
Well, that's Ford.
Top edge.
Oh, no.
Full race down towards the rope. And doing the fielding is Brendan Charlton. Yes, I was saying the throw was a little bit too high and wide for Jeremy Ford, the keeper.
Ah, there we go. That was
I wasn't saying Jeremy Ford threw it in, I was saying, yeah.
Okay. I don't know where Jono Ford is out there.
Yeah.
Though. Have you seen him in the field? I heard him here earlier in the commentary, but I haven't seen him out in the field since.
He seems to have disappeared. Does Jono Ford do the batting and Jeremy Ford does the keeping?
Well, actually, it's probably a good alter ego. Jeremy's renowned for batting middle order and performing quite well, and Jono's gone up the order in that opener. He seems to be scoring runs, so maybe that is his little alter ego. And just give a bit of a shout out to the NDCA sponsors as well. Obviously, I'm wearing a couple of hats here today, but obviously Newcastle City Council, big supporters of cricket, particularly this time of year. They call it the celebration of cricket in Newcastle. But yeah, proud to have them on as major sponsors of this competition, and also new sponsors for us, Club Mex on board as well. So we'll shout out to some more existing sponsors later on, but Club Mex has been fantastic, and they've got some great initiatives, great initiatives for the association, and bringing out things like Player of the Month awards and stuff like that. So it's good to see local business getting behind cricket.
So while Dylan Robertson is just continuing a wide off the first delivery, and that one absolutely thumps down the ground, just enough to go over the rope for a maximum for Jacob Montgomery. He started his innings very well, boundary off his first couple of balls, and then that one beautifully struck. We'll head down to the boundary to the Sports Castle boys. They have got Nathan Price.
Pricey, not the start you would have been looking for.
No, it wasn't really. I was hopeful to go out there and do a little bit better of a start than that, but now it looks like Monty and Anne are taking over and doing quite well.
Yeah, mate. It looked like one just set up on you a bit.
Yeah, I tried to keep along the ground and just punch it through cover, but it kind of held up a bit and pulled it to mid-off, unfortunately, so that's the way it goes.
Yeah, a couple of good strikers to come. Obviously got Monty out there and the marquee man, Brett Jackson.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he goes today. Haven't seen him sort of bat in a game situation for a period of time, so yeah, I think he'll do quite well.
Yeah, Nashi was just filling us in. He was down at training early in the year, bullying Nashi in the nets, I hear.
Yeah, for a guy who hasn't played in a few years, he just came and dominated straight away. It was pretty impressive, actually.
Lovely, mate. Still pretty confident with only the 1 wicket down after 3.2.
Yeah, I think anything less than 2 wickets in the power play, I think we'll be doing quite well. And if we keep that run rate around about the rate, I'm pretty confident we can go close.
Yeah, the boys are really taking advantage of the lower number of fielders out at the moment.
Yeah, Monty's been excellent this over. A few boundaries and really taking it to the bowler. So he's playing well.
Yeah, I guess make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, why not? It's the best time to bat in the first 6, so take him down, I would say.
Lovely. Thanks very much for your time, mate.
No problem.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Nathan, as well. And Nathan will know just how well Jacob Montgomery can hit the ball. They took 41 off and over in the Tom Locker Cup against Stockton. Yes, 41.
It was incredible. I heard about this from the grapevine on the Saturday night.
Here he is with an edge.
And
he won't mind.
Yeah, on that Saturday night, I could scarcely believe it until confirmation came through via the Newcastle Herald the next morning. I thought that was quite incredible. 41 off and over. Have you seen anything like it before, Aaron?
Not 41, no. I think here, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I saw Greg Hunt get put for 5 or 6 sixes in a row over the curating shed there by Josh Trappel. So that was a good effort in this standard cricket. 41's incredible. So what's there? Some extras in there, was there, or must have been a no ball?
5 extras, I think.
Yeah, there was a considerable amount.
So Joel Foster continues. And Anthony Young, we just can't get himself going at the moment. Same rate that Jacob Montgomery has started.
On for 39 or 4.1 at the moment. They'd be pretty happy with the start so far in the power play.
Yeah, they got off to a great start, haven't they?
Yeah.
Really capitalised on minimum fielders out and really dictated to the bowlers at the moment.
And again, just finding a little gap. Get fine towards third man. So at this stage, after 4 overs, Toronto none for 34.
Still very comparable.
It's this little period here where Toronto slowed just a touch with the wicket of Corey Brown. So this is the big portion of the innings where Wallsend have just got to score a little quicker because Adrian Chad came in late for Toronto and thumped a few. Just moving the field here. Putting a couple there behind Poynton, third man. And a very good field placement.
Almost a crowd catch, that one.
You went up?
I nearly was. I was thinking, gosh.
As a Maitland boy, do you have a team you go for, Josh? In that, we've got Toronto here with Aaron. So, do you have a team? Because you played for the CBs.
Yeah, I played a number of seasons with the CBs, so they're the team that's closest to my heart.
That one slashed away and finds the rope. He's hitting them well at the moment, Jacob Montgomery. He's seeing them like a watermelon at the moment. 1 for 44.
Bit uppishly in the gully, but as we said before, it doesn't matter how you get them.
Now, I just saw your text, Aaron. Kai Zanardi was the bowler from Stockton. Now, I remember his name because I actually played against him in juniors. Kai Zanardi from...
Did you hit him for any sixes or...?
No. I didn't hit many sixes, Josh.
Sorry, just going to say that intel's come through from one of Bar TV's great commentators, David Redden.
He does a great job on the AFL, Dave. He'll be back. I'm pretty certain he'll be back again this year.
He's all over it, the big man. He didn't miss that, did he? He's obviously listening in to I'll say critique, but he's certainly not like that. He'd be listening in, watching it passionately. Loves his sport, loves his cricket, loves his AFL.
Kai's from his club, though, isn't he?
That's right, yeah. So he would have been there on the day. Hence he's chimed in with some facts for us, which is helpful for me.
Now, you've asked me about my allegiances, Ben. Tell the listeners and the viewers who you played for the other week.
Played is a interesting way of describing it. You see Foster. This one just pushed away. I'll through for a single, Anthony Young. Yeah, played for uni the other week. I just filled in. I played for them for a couple of years. Bit of threes and fours. And
heard you had an over. Didn't go so flash.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. First over in about 2 years. Few wides, few no balls.
41 offered?
Not 41. I don't think there was too many in the end. So yeah, we won the match though. Didn't win outright, but got the job done. Well, I think it was 3. So
that's the main thing.
Exactly. So we see Adrian Chadd into the attack. His first over.
I was just going to say, when do we see the likes of Adrian Chadd? And well, it's now.
Yeah, they've got plenty of bowling options as well. You know, those guys coming up from Manly really add some depth to both batting and bowling. But you've got Brendan Charlton as well. He'll probably bowl through the middle. I'd say Chatty just wants to try and take a bit of control.
And Anthony Young playing a good role here, just nurdling it around for a couple of singles while Montgomery is really going.
He can hit the ball too, Anthony Young. He's, you know, he's probably looking at the long game in this as well and thinking if he can bat for some period of time, he'll be able to get some boundaries away at some point.
That ball not getting past Sam Gainsford at point.
Talking about other bowling options, Sam Gainsford, you said, is a very capable spinner.
Left arm ortho, so yeah, you've got a couple of spin options there with him and Dylan. Obviously you've got Foster there, you've got who's bowled already, Griffin Lee obviously only bowled one at the start. Well, that could be
Plenty
out.
of height on that, and that should be taken, and is. Easy as you like. A really important wicket for the Kookaburras. Jacob Montgomery is hitting them nicely, and he's got to go.
Dylan Robertson in the action again, taking the catch.
Love his passion. You see, he just takes a sitter there, but he was just so happy to get a wicket for his team.
He took the first one off his own bowling, and it was a big one of Price, and now, look at that. He was almost running in and celebrating before he caught it.
That's just a roll of the fingers there from Chatty.
And you can just see how good his hands are, Dylan Robertson, can't you? Just by taking that catch, the way he took it. So calmly in front of his eyes. Beautifully done.
He's going a long way to redeeming himself with that performance of the bat, as you said.
We better keep bringing it up, the way he's playing in the field. A wicket, a beautiful catch, and remember the golden duck as well.
Poor Blake, I've got to just chuck it in there. He's one of the hardest trainers you'll ever see. You know, he'd be really disappointed with his batting at the moment, but, you know, he'll come good. We've got faith in him, and, you know, hard work pays off. But, you know, he's still up in the field. Like I said, gets really super excited just taking a sitter. Mind you, a big wicket. Jacob Montgomery was probably going quite well there. Not sure what he actually finished with, but...
we're having a bit of an issue with the score.
Plenty of boundaries.
And Adrian Chadd gets the wicket.
Corey Brown there, just giving some strike rate back to the batsman.
His 10th wicket of the season, Chadd. 6 in the 2-day, 3 in the Tom Locker, and now 1 in the T20 competition.
Jacob Page, the new batsman.
Bowled really nicely. Solid in defence to start things off.
Yeah, he'll take a lot of confidence out of his bowling earlier in the match.
And he's batted terrifically this year. Top score of 75 in the 2-day competition, and second highest run scorer behind Nathan Price. He's off the mark. 137 runs this season at an average of 34 in 2 days.
He's got a beautifully classical technique too.
He hasn't played any one-days. Didn't play any Tom Locker Cup matches. Jacob Page. End of that over, 6 overs, down 2 for 48.
He's still involved with a lot of rep systems, so potentially was unavailable through likes of Central North or something along those lines. I think he's only 17.
How good's that? 17 years old and you're knocking up 75 in first grade.
Yeah, well.
We know what Jason Sanger's done in. We've actually got to have that debate, don't we, a little bit later on, Aaron. Where is Jason Sanger from?
Yeah, well, you better chime Chris in for that chat. We'll have it out on air, eh?
Here's Griffin. And that one struck Jacob Page on the pad. Good start there from the young, quick Griffin Lee.
Seems everyone's willing to claim him.
Yeah, well,
Sanger.
I think when anyone makes it, you know, you're proud of them for making it, you know. So, you know, he's a Southern Lakes junior. He played there for 4 or 5 seasons. Got an opportunity to play first grade at Wallsend at a young age and went there and took his opportunity. No one can begrudge him for that. But you know, we're proud to say he's brought through with an extremely...
Oh, gee whiz, Anthony Young. That's a couple of French cuts, and he's very lucky to get away with that. But back to you, Aaron.
Yeah, look, you know, he come through an extremely talented age group for us with Griffin Lee and Andrew Somerville and Pete McCready, to name a few. So a really, really talented group of players at our club that come through under the Hollands tutelage. So we had Robert and Craig Holland. Well, Craig Holland was coach, and obviously Robert Holland was around a lot. So Tom Holland was in the team as well. So exceptionally talented bunch of players, and very rare to get such a group at one club. So yeah, look, we're proud of his efforts, and we'll proudly say he was a Southern Lakes junior. But we also accept the fact that he's from Wallsend as far as senior cricket goes, and yeah, so fair game. But he's also Randy Pete's boy now, isn't he?
Exactly. And doing a great job this season with the Sydney Thunder. There's Lee in, and Page able to push that one down the ground for a single. And he actually said he felt he got caught up in the hype, Jason Sanger. Scored about 62 against the Stars in the opening match, and then struggled to hit double figures. He's made a good 30 the other day against Adelaide Strikers, so good to see him just returning to a little bit of form. And Chris, just keep your ears out. We might come to you in a couple of balls just to respond, because I thought Aaron was quite diplomatic.
We're a pretty fair bunch over at Toronto, mate.
And obviously Toronto, it's been a tough period with the passing of Dutchy Holland. Really difficult period for you guys.
Incredibly difficult. You know, he fell ill at the end of season 2016-17, passed away at the start of season 17-18. So it was it still is an incredibly difficult time. We're still finding jobs that he was doing that people aren't doing without regular prompting to do it, because it was just such a, you know, part of the furniture to have someone doing that for so long. But yeah, incredible tie, and you know, leaves a massive hole in the club probably forever.
He's had a number of massive honours for him over the last couple of years. Awaba Oval renamed. The Dutchy Holland Oval.
That's right, Robert Dutchy Holland Oval. So that's a great honour and a great legacy to leave his name there. That's the spiritual home of our club. We played first grade cricket there till the 70s. So yeah, it's great that Dutchy can be remembered like that. There's numerous awards now within our club, one of them being the Spirit of Cricket for our junior player, and also our best player in the senior club now is named the Robert Holland winner, and also the NDCA has rightfully named the club championship the Robert Holland Club Championship now. So, you know, and the reason for that is that Dutchy was such a club-spirited person, and there's no better award in club cricket than club championships. So it's a great honour.
Just quickly, did you ever get to see his baggy green?
No, I haven't seen it. I might have seen it at his tribute night. We had a great night for him 2 nights before he passed, and they had a lot of his playing shirts and stuff. It was on stage actually, yeah. So I did see it. You know, such a humble guy. You know, didn't wear it down the ground or anything like that. You know, it took pride in his place somewhere. Such a humble guy, and you know, he was mowing grass and running canteens and stuff like that. For a bloke that did everything he did in the game, he didn't have to, he didn't owe anyone that. So, yeah, it's incredible. And you know, his son Craig's doing the same thing in baseball. So, yeah, great family.
Yeah, of course, he'll be long be missed.
Yeah, here to all that. Legend of a bloke as well. I never met him, but just from what I've heard from people, especially working at the ABC as well, Craig Hamilton had a lot to do with him as well. So, yeah, very sad, very sad.
So this is Gainsford?
Yeah, Sam Gainsford.
Yeah, this
back.
is Gainsford, yep.
And we're going to head down to the boundary. It's Gainsford to Page here. We'll just see how this one plays out. Dot ball. Jacob Montgomery is down there with the Sports Castle boys.
Yeah, got Monty with us, so I might even let you respond, Monty, as to the home club of Jason Sanger. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, happy to claim him. I think he played 5 years for us, so yeah, obviously gone on to bigger and better things now.
Yeah, I think we might all have to agree to disagree. I know Aaron's not going to let him go, and maybe even the guys at Warners Bay / Lake Macquarie Junior cricket might lay a claim to him as well prior to Toronto. Mate, you look like you went out there with a plan to accelerate the run rate.
Yeah, I think the last few years it's been hard to chase. I think when you look at the results, a lot of the teams batting first tend to win, so I think it's just the light. So I think you had to basically use the light while we had it. So I think with the guys in, you sort of got to try and attack it in that first 6, I think, especially if you're batting second.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And what can we expect from young Jacob Page out here?
He's a good player. He's come down from Raymond Terrace this year. So I think he'll probably just knock it around through these middle overs and probably be the anchor and let Youngie probably be more of the boundary striker.
Yeah, obviously got the experience of Youngie out there and the experience of Brett Jackson to come.
Yeah, that's it. So it'll be interesting to see how Brett goes. He hasn't played for a while, but yeah, he's a quality player, so I'm sure he'll do well.
He's always a fair striker of the ball, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes.
And we're about to find out.
Yeah, exactly right. Unfortunately, another wicket there, so Brett will stride to the crease. You guys now 3 down.
Yeah, Anthony Young gone. Brilliantly bowled and just skidded on low again. We've spoken about the uneven bounce of this pitch, and we've seen it firsthand again there.
Who else? Dill Robertson.
So he's had a hand in each wicket, 2 wickets for himself and a catch on the boundary. Couldn't have asked for much more than that.
They've been great, those left-arm Chinamans, haven't they, coming out like that?
And Anthony Young, maybe a little disappointed. He's been out there since the first ball of this innings, but probably would have preferred to get going a little bit more than what he has, and in the end he just couldn't quite get the runs flowing out for 8 runs.
Did a job for the 2 boys that were going early, so.
Jacob Montgomery, what about his strike rate? 32 off 15. Not bad.
Well, if you're going at over 200, you're doing very well.
And just in that interview, he seemed to be conceding a little bit there. He was fairly dejected and seemed like it might be tough now with the lights. That's a wide from Dill Robertson.
They've had a good start. Still a lot of this game to go.
Yeah, their rate is good. It's the wicket count, 3 for 58. After 8 overs. Robertson again, just dotting up Jackson. After 8 overs, Toronto were 1 for 52. So ahead of their opponents.
Yeah, it's just as you say, it's that wickets column. It's a saying in cricket, if you look at 2 wickets ahead, if you were to take 2 wickets right now, what would it look like? And at the moment, if they were to take 2 wickets, it wouldn't look great for Wallsend.
And Brett Jackson gets off the mark with a misfield.
Whereas if you're none for it, makes it a whole different ball game. 2 wickets are still only 2 for.
I think it's the value of those wickets too. You know, Price big wicket. Montgomery, he was hitting it really well, another big wicket. And Anthony Young, I thought, was probably just getting to the point in his innings where he could have done some damage. So, big job here for Brett Jackson now.
And it's just that continual stalling of the run rate, especially when you're taking continual wickets. It just sort of stops the play again for the next couple of overs while that batsman has to get themselves in. And then you've got to go again. If you get a wicket as the batsman gets themselves in, it starts that flow-on effect, which can be so vital in T20 cricket.
Great family there, the Wilson family from Toronto Workers. And they get along to nearly all the games. Both the young fellas play, and it's always great to see Mum and Dad come along as well. Sam Gainsford back on. So obviously Gainsford's a famous name as well. His father Dave, obviously his sister's Melinda Gainsford. So
that's his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So they're very, very proud family. They give a lot back to the community. They've got the Gainsford Scholarship, which is something that Dave's championing for the family in cricket circles. So Andrew Somerville was the winner of that last year, and yeah, the opportunity is, or the background to that is, they bring a player from the bush to the big smoke to kickstart their chance at making it in cricket. So Andrew obviously would feel very privileged for winning that, and it's up for grabs now in the season to come. So yeah, incredible family looking after their roots from the bush, you know. So yeah, really trying to do the job there for the guys in the country.
Does he have the speed of his sister, Sam?
It's funny, you know.
He dropped that one short. Page has a go at it. And he has misjudged it, Dylan Robertson.
Caught out there.
It's been rocks or diamonds for him today, hasn't it? He's got the golden arm. He's taken a beautiful catch. But on that occasion, he's come in maybe a little too eager, would you say, Aaron?
Yeah, well, obviously he's trying to be 5 or so off there just to try and stop the 2, and he's obviously just misjudged it off the stick, and I don't know, maybe there's a bit of wind out there playing its part as well, but
and you would think that's where the wind is coming from, and maybe he thought it would just hold up a little more.
Yeah, it's a funny one, but normally he doesn't miss those by him at all.
And it's just bounced inside the rope too. That'll be a coach killer. Chance to redeem himself.
Definitely, he's done that on a couple of occasions this afternoon. Page flicks that one down to long on. And considering Jacob Page is more of a grafter, it does put the pressure on Brett Jackson a little more to go after the bowling. We'll see if he does that. Bowling nicely.
Simple at the moment. They need 8 and over off the last 10. It's a very nice shot.
Beautifully flicked. And look at the speed of this outfield. Not quite going to get there. Corey Brown doing the running around on the boundary. And he didn't hit that very hard, and it almost got there. Just used the pace of the spin bowler. 3 balls left in the over. Jackson playing a bit of backyard cricket. Hit and run. 3 for 71. So just to look at the target where they want to be after 11 in comparison. Toronto 1 for 68. So still ahead.
Looks like West are doing the business over at Parker Oval. 1 for 95 off 10 overs. So they need about 48 or 49 runs to win now with 10 overs to go. Price not doing the damage, but Aaron Wivell carrying on his form from Saturday.
Yeah, what about that?
48 off 30, and then McLaughlin just trying to work out. That's Mark McLaughlin from. He's been playing 3rd grade. He's a Merv. He's an old Southern Lakes boy as well. there you go, claim them all. But he's well into his 40s, so
he's doing well.
In a century, yeah.
Not bad at all. As we just see Brett Jackson, he got a little bit more pace on that delivery from Dylan Robertson and just flicked it away again. Just quite fine, and that race to the boundary. So 3 for 76. And this one quite evenly poised at the moment with Sam Gainsford to bowl to Jacob Page. That's all he has to do.
Just back over to the Harker Oval match. So Mark, or Merv McLaughlin as he's known, he's did 2 centuries this year, one in 2nd grade, one in 3rd grade. And he's only been out twice. So his average is 160 for the season.
That,
but he's 44 off 28 rocks in a 1st grade match. So that's certainly raising the status there by doing it in 1st grade. He's played a lot of cricket, Merv, but hasn't played a high level for a while, to the best of my knowledge. We're hoping to see Merv out at Ron Hill Oval on Sunday, actually, for our old boys game. So him and a few other
Big
guys.
appeal, and up goes the finger, and Brett Jackson is on his way. Sam Gainsford with his first wicket of the afternoon. And Manly Boyle have plenty of confidence. That one looked pretty adjacent on the knee roll.
He's had a long look at it.
You no bat?
We'll have another look at it.
Down?
Well, we can slow it down. The boys are good. We'll see if we can get it going. Rock it and roll it. Here we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't think there was any bat in there.
I'd say, yeah.
I thought the bat rolled.
I couldn't give that bat.
That sort of rolled. And
maybe we can get our sideline eye to ask him.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out.
He doesn't look too disappointed from a decision perspective. You usually see players shaking their head or whispering a few mutterings.
Here's another angle.
Yeah, height looks okay, but yeah. Fair enough. Just thought I'd try and help the Wallsend boys out a bit. But I guess once the umpire's given it out, you can't change it, can you?
Well, before he heads over to have a chat, Brett Jackson, we will head over to the Sports Castle, boys. There's a decent crowd in the grandstand.
Yeah, solid turnout for the start of the Summer Bash. Certainly great to see plenty of people getting down here on a cracking night for cricket.
It's just a classic Newcastle summer night, isn't it? Just beautiful.
Yeah, it's great down here. The breeze has actually rolled in quite nicely from the east, and everyone seems to be enjoying it down here in the stand.
Certainly knocked a couple of degrees off the temperature, that's for sure. I think even the players out in the field will be thankful for that.
And where do you boys think this match is placed? If you were our WinViz calculators, what percentage would you give the Tigers of winning this match?
Oh, I'm going to say we're probably both a little bit biased, but I'll say it's evenly poised, 50-50 both ways.
So how crucial does it make this partnership?
Another wicket here would certainly be a bit of a blow to Wallsend. I'd certainly think Young's, Lynchy and Pagey would be looking to try and bat through till at least 16th or 17th to give Wallsend the best shot.
Yeah, very much agree there, especially with Pagey there. He's already faced a few, so and actually both of them being in pretty good form recently coming into Christmas. So hopefully they stick together for a while and get the mighty Tigers home.
They both look very young and fit. I imagine running between the wickets isn't an issue, so 9 and over, perhaps they can turn a few ones into twos into threes.
Yeah, they certainly are quick. Might be a few extra strides looking at the height of the two boys, but they'll give it a red-hot crack.
Thanks, boys, for your input, and we will catch up with you shortly because Brett Jackson probably won't be far away. So Adrian Chadd is back into the attack. Superb first over. 1 for 3 from that first over. You can't ask for much more than that.
Matt Lynch, the new batter. Again, the Maitland boys coming together.
And he's batted well this year. Third highest run scorer for the Tigers.
Very prestigious young talent coming through the Eastern Suburbs ranks in the Maitland competition. I think he's one of the youngest century scorers in first grade for them. Scored a first grade century when he was only 15.
Top score of 50 not out this year in the two-day competition.
Put the commentator's curse on Merv McLaughlin over at Harker. He didn't score another run.
Well, don't tell him, all right?
No.
Don't tell him to listen back.
Commentator's curse. Not that I'd probably take the privilege of a commentator's title, but...
No, while you're up here in the box, you're a commentator, Aaron. Don't downplay it. Actually, I will tell you a story from the weekend. I was calling the A-League, Sydney playing Adelaide on Fox, and for the first time ever, we'll just see this ball from Adrian Chad. Well bowled and another dot ball. For the first time ever, I put on a reverse commentator's curse. I think I said Sydney FC, best second half side in the league, about 1 minute into the second half, and they scored about 10 seconds later. So I haven't done that before. Normally it's the reverse. You say something positive and then it all goes pear-shaped.
When that happens, you just sort of go, and that's why.
No, you just put your arms out and go. Mate, there you go. Thank you for making me look good.
I'm sure you would have loved to have called the Perth game on the weekend against Western Sydney. That was a very entertaining match.
What a match. 4-3. Plenty of entertainment. It's like a big bash match. Whipped away.
It's a good shot. Well ran.
That's what I was talking about before with the two youngsters here. Turning a potential 1 into a 2 there. Perhaps a more senior player with a bit more years in the legs may not be able to change that.
Matt Lynch, he's played that one well. He can see long on and mid-wicket on the rope. And these speedy youngsters get through for 2.
So that's really smart batting from the youngsters. They know that by the speed and the agility they've got to be able to turn a 1 into a 2, it's going to help them down the track when they're going to have to play a couple of bigger shots.
We will head down to the boundary. There's Brett Jackson. He's getting ready to chat to the Sports Castle boys, giving us the salute as well. Down to you, boys.
Jacko, how was it to be back out in the middle, mate?
Mate, it was exhausting. Still getting my breath back, but no, it was all right.
And seeing them all right, mate. How's the pitch playing?
Sort of skidding on a little bit now. There's no spin or anything like that. It's coming onto the batter, right? Yeah.
And the match pretty evenly poised, mate. Toronto at the same stage with 2 for 86. You guys 4 for 87. You'd obviously like to have a couple more wickets, or Price or Montgomery still out there, but you're backing the boys in still?
Look, it's going to be tough, but I guess, they just, if they chip it around, ones and the odd 2, boundary every, 6 or 8 balls, yeah, for a hope.
The young fella's doing a great job out there at the moment, turning some 1s into 2. They've got some toe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they've got pretty good head on their shoulders, actually. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah. You enjoyed being back out there, mate? You'll be around for the whole summer bash?
Yeah, I hope so. See how I pull up. My first gallop out there, chase the ball. I think I might have pulled something in the leg, and yeah, I don't know. So it happens.
Mate, that's what happens with no training in between, I guess.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks for joining us, mate, and hopefully the boys can get the job done from here.
No, it's a pleasure. Loving your work. You're the best.
Thank you, Brett. Thanks, boys.
I didn't even pay him for that either.
Now, we'll say the Wallsend boys, they're not too confident, are they? Brett Jackson talking down his team's chance.
I think they're the king of playing it down right here, to be honest. I think there's still a big chance this partnership gets them through. As Chris said earlier, to the 17th over or thereabouts. I think it's still a win with a big chance, like talked about closing out the innings. If they need 9 and over off the last 3, they're going to rate themselves, aren't they?
Yep, exactly. And these two youngsters, pushing the runs, pushing the singles, pushing the twos as well. That's going to play a big part in this match as well. Who's that down by the canteen?
Well, it's a couple of committee people from Toronto. So Kevin Roberts standing outside, presumably having a cold beverage, and on the inside you had Mud Lee, or Marino Lee, but Mud Lee as she's known, and that's Griffin Lee's mum, but treasurer and one of our hardest working volunteers you'll ever come across. So she's in here today with what we call the Boundary, which is our canteen, doing, like I said, the pulled pork rolls and American hot dogs and all sorts of things, and an assortment of cold drinks. So.
You just mentioned there Kevin Roberts, not the Cricket Australia CEO.
Mate, yeah, he goes by Toronto committee man at night and CEO by day. No, but it was good. It was good when he got named as CEO. Good namesake. But
well, that one well taken, and the innings comes to a close for Jacob Page, and Adrian Chad strikes again, the main man for the Kookaburras. And they're just losing wickets at inopportune times at the moment. Wallsend, and we disappointed the youngster, couldn't keep that one down. Sliced off the edge. Beautifully taken.
So costly there. Just means another batsman has to come out, get themselves set.
And it looked like a slow ball. He was through the shot. And well taken by Joel Foster.
Makes the task even bigger now for Matt Lynch. Adrian Chad having a good game.
Yeah, he's been economical, hasn't he? So that's probably a couple of wickets, and contributed nicely with the bat earlier. The run scoring hasn't slowed down over at Harker Oval, 2 for 123. So they need 20 runs to win with 6 overs in hand. So, oh, that's going to run on, I think.
Really well played by Ryan Brooks, and that will get to the boundary.
Great start. Yeah, the Rosellas look like they've got that wrapped up over at Harker Oval, barring an absolute miracle.
Just on Ryan Brooks, the keeper, hasn't had a great season with the bat. Just 18 runs in 4 innings for the first grade side in the 2-day competition. But this is what the 2020 comp gives batsmen a chance to do, turn their season around. And he's doing that right now.
It's only
off a couple of balls.
He's only young, Ryan Brooks, but it seems like he's been playing first grade forever.
Yeah, he's got a few seasons under his belt now, hasn't he? It's probably 22, maybe?
Yeah, he's probably been playing since he was 16, I'd say.
Still right in this one. That Lynch on strike, just backed away. Couldn't slide it past Corey Brown.
Corey Brown, what a game he's having.
Striking at 130.
Dot balls.
And Adrian Chad batted beautifully, striking them to all parts, and now really tightening up Wallsend, getting some wickets. And Matt Lynch plays that one nicely.
Can you
get back for 2? Ryan Brooks is steaming through, and that's what you can do, put pressure on the fielder. And Dylan Robertson couldn't scoop that one up.
Can you tell me if there's any truth to the rumours that Corey Brown is referred to as Johnny Bravo in the Toronto ranks?
Mate, it's absolutely true. And why wouldn't it be? He's got the longest head in the world. And he's got the nice the quiff, hasn't he? But, yep, Johnny Bravo. That's how he's known. We had to be careful when Jono Ford actually came into the dressing room, because we had 2 Jono and a Johnny.
Yeah, right.
But that's okay. There's never a mix-up. They're not too similar in that regard.
Now, Aaron, are you affecting the scoreboard again here? Because the Tigers are actually... Yeah, they're a 98. We've put the score up again. I thought you'd just taken a run off them.
Yeah, well, I'm trying my best. Tell me where it is, and I'll just keep adding some points to the other column there, the wickets.
So just looking at the total that Toronto were on after 15 overs, 1 for 99 they were. 5 for 98 the Tigers. So evenly poised, just the wickets column the difference, but with only 5 overs to go, it's not really too much of a concern, apart from the fact that their key men are now out, with Price, Montgomery, Page also. Joel Foster changing ends, and Brooks kept it down but couldn't get it past Gainsford at point.
There's a Manly duo coming to into play there. Bold Foster fielded Gainsford. Can't thank the Manly club enough for everything they do for our club. Sending players up here, running coaching clinics, contributing to our TASTE program, which is our academy program, and opening their doors to allow our guys to go down there to train and improve, and obviously create an opportunity for our youngsters if they want to move to Sydney and try and make something of cricket. So
Andrew Somerville there this year?
Yeah, he's having a season down there this year. Griffin Lee's looking like going there next year. So
Hot off the press.
Sorry?
Hot off the press.
Oh no, I think it's not a secret. He's working hard on his game and knows he's at that age now where he's got to either make a decision to go there and try and make something of it. And look, he'll become that's a great, like the best thing about Manly that we've really gravitated to is their culture. They look after them off the field. They look after their club culture really, really well. So that's important, and I think we share those values from that club perspective. They were club champions last year, and that's something we strive to be as often as we can. Oh, you might have saved that.
Terrific job racing around the boundary there, Ben Roberts.
Another one you wouldn't mind having another look at.
Yeah, I actually think he's done superbly well to keep that one from crossing the line. We will have another inspection.
The cone did move. It's always a worry when the cone moves.
We might have a look at it after this delivery. That's well struck, but straight at the man. Tight single.
Very tight.
Chad there at cover. And just on that connection, that's fantastic for both clubs. You guys have talented players. You send them down to Manly to give themselves that chance in Sydney. Sometimes it can be hard to break into a Sydney club or even get a chance if you're in a regional area. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, like these guys, whilst bringing obviously great skills and essential to us doing well in this competition, they teach the other players around them. Like we've got a host of young guys in this team now, with Josh Westwood and Benny Roberts in particular, that don't get exposure to this level of cricketer often. So to be sharing a dressing room with them and hearing, you get a wicket, there'd be something being said in that huddle that you might not have heard before. So yeah, I think there's a lot to offer. Last year we had the services of Adam Crosswaite, and I know he's not at Manly this year, but what he brought in his appearances for us was more experience than we're ever going to get from a lot of our players put together. So they did all that just because they share the same values. So it's great.
Of course, Adam Crosswaite, former Victorian first-class keeper, played a bit of Big Bash for Adelaide Strikers.
Yep.
Yeah,
so he didn't go. He was disappointed with his effort in our midweek game. He only got 5, but he played in our double header on the Sunday later in the year, and two handy little knocks. He's having a killer season down there too. He's hit his 5th century on the weekend. So
just got to say that he's at North Sydney at the Bears this year, and got 100 on the weekend.
Yeah, he's 5th of the season. So remarkable season, isn't it?
Yeah, talented brothers actually. Him and his brother James. James played a lot of second 11 for New South Wales.
We'll head down to the boundary in just a second. Decent swing, and Ryan Brooks couldn't connect.
Who have we got down there?
Well, we'll head down there now to the Sports Castle, boys. Who have you got?
Joined by the Wallsend president and 4th grade superstar, Chris Bushell. How are you, Bushy?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks, Chris.
That's the way, mate. Couple of young batsmen out there. How do you see this one playing out for the last few overs?
Well, these boys have started off all right. They got the 1s and 2s cracking. They're going along all right, but we still need a couple of extra boundaries, I'd say.
That will help.
That's a good start.
Chasing still probably about 10 to 11 and over, so a few more boundaries won't go astray. Who's going to be the key here out of this partnership?
I reckon Ryan Brooks is the man. He's got a bomb in him. He needs a couple more boundaries, and Lynchy's the man who's going to back him up with the ones and twos.
Great chance for Brooksy to play himself into a bit of form here too.
He is, yeah. He started off all right. He actually got the first one off the square that he got off the mark with, so he's going well.
Great running there to turn that into a 2. All right, Bushy, so you're backing the boys home from here?
I reckon we can still do it. Yeah, we need about 11 over, but yeah, we're running these guys ragged in the field, so we've just got to keep it going.
Grandstand finish on our hands, mate.
Thanks, boys. Now, Bushy, just before you go, let's see what Ryan Brooks can do here. He may have sliced this straight to the man. Beautifully taken by Sam Gainsford on the boundary. A huge wicket for the Kookaburras. Ryan Brooks was just starting to get going. And Bushy, I just wanted to ask you, we're talking about Jason Sanger before. Where's he from, Wallsend or Toronto?
Well, rumour has it he actually played a couple of junior games for Toronto, but it was only 1 or 2 at the most, and he learned everything else in the nets at Wallsend.
That's a great answer.
He then went down to Randwick, and they taught him 1 or 2 things, but it's really, really Wallsend.
Love it, Bushy. Thanks so much.
No worries. It's good to be here.
So Ryan Brooks on his way.
He did play, in fairness, 2 or 3 games just in grand finals alone, and he's got a few premiership caps. So that's a fair call. As I said before, we're super proud of him, and you know, I think it's great that he's come from Newcastle and well, in Lake Macquarie as well. But yeah, definitely come from our region, our competition. It's great that we've got a first-class cricketer in the more recent times.
Hopefully, Newcastle's the next Test cricketer.
Potentially, yeah.
How good would that be? Chat in again. He's been the chief destroyer tonight, and that is the end of the 17th over. 6 for 111. Just a quick score comparison. After 17 overs, Toronto were 5 for 120. And Aaron, you've just brought up the Rosella score. They have thumped the Black Roses, the CBs.
Man on camera there, Paul Toole, the far right. Legend of the club, life member. It's great to see him here supporting on a short break from his stint in the army at the moment. So
great to see.
Excellent to see.
So Liam Taylor, how well can he hit them? He's going to have the pace of Joel Foster to work with, who is back in the attack, the Manly quick. And Foster has bowled 3 overs for 17, so he's been fairly economical.
13 and over required, just a little over 2 a ball.
And he's hit that one solidly. Not waiting it long on his Brendan Charlton. Interesting to see why he hasn't bowled Charlton. He's actually picked up the 3rd most wickets for the Kookaburras this season. Obviously, if they get the job done, not too much of an issue, but it's just interesting. He's picked up 13 wickets, 10 in the 2-day, 3 in the 1-days.
It's probably a fraction quicker out of all of our bowlers too, so maybe they've summed up this wicket as being more useful to just so slow. We talked about it in the first innings, I think, with was it Page bowling, taking the
Jacob Page bowled
taking
really
the
well.
pace off the ball a bit and just making it a bit harder to get the boundaries. So that could be the reason why Charlton hasn't been turned to just at this stage, because it might be a little bit too much pace to work with.
Both Nathan Price and Adrian Chadd have bowled really well. They aren't express.
Mm-hmm. And obviously Foster is, obviously an excellent cricketer. So, he's been back based on the knowledge of his game, but he's doing a great job as well. He's been very economical, actually. See if I can get his stats here quickly. Yeah, so he's in his 4th over and he's not gone for 20.
That one just beyond the reach of Matt Lynch and adjudged wide by the umpire. We'll get a look at it, see what you two thought.
Ford didn't like it behind the stumps.
It doesn't seem like Joel Foster's too pleased with the decision either. Fast bowler's never too happy with a wide being adjudged against them. So Matt Lynch, what can he come up with here? They're going to push. Dylan Robertson from the fence.
Loves the flair, Dylan Robinson.
And I've really enjoyed the energy he's brought this afternoon. As you said, such an energizer bunny out there in the field.
Can never question his heart.
Oh, not at all. You know, great acquisition for the club.
Gee, how's that? So the horn of the ship that's probably coming into the port has gone off just as Foster's delivered the ball. So should that be a dead ball for Liam Taylor?
Wow. It's loud, isn't it?
That was loud, and because the wind is blowing from the east, that has just pushed the sound across and made it even louder than what it normally would be. It's a nor'easter, so it is perfectly positioned for that horn to travel across.
Yeah, you were asking me before about the Central Coast guys, but they're just fantastic. They're, you know, maybe it's not consistent necessarily with just where they're from, but these individuals, they're so great in the dressing room. Brennan's a bit quieter, but, you know, his sense of humour is still there, as good as everything, and Ryan Fenning's a very funny guy, and Dylan's just full of energy. Always first to training, last to leave, that sort of guy. Yeah, really happy and willing to coach.
So what brought three of them to the club?
Yeah, so he asked me that before. Yeah, look, so Mitch Coombs played some T20 stuff with us about 4 years ago. And talented cricketer, played in Sydney, won T20 premierships with Northern Districts. So we've stayed in touch with him. And we gave him a call last year towards the end of the season and asked him about coming and have a run. And he had a kid on the way and wasn't effectively not playing, which is a real bummer for cricket, actually, not having him playing. But he works with Ryan, or worked with Ryan. I'm not sure if they still do, but he put us on to Ryan. And, yeah, both of them were keen to come up and try their hand in Newcastle cricket. And we're the beneficiaries of that. Brendan Charlton is a guy we probably had in and around the club over a period of time, and he just happened to move out of the Central Coast up further north. So he's great also. So yeah, you can't fault them, and they really fit into the club well and embraced, you know, our culture and our values, and really supported particularly our youth that we're trying to bring through.
A wide there to start Griffin Lee. I was just going to say a couple of handy pickups, especially with Fenning and Robertson playing for Central Coast in the country championships last year. I know Dill had a fairly handy season himself, scored runs, took wickets. Handy when you can bring in a couple of representative cricketers.
Oh, unbelievably so. And, you know, Ryan, in particular, you know, I just love, like I said to him, he said, what's your goal? And his goal was to be the best fielder in the club and the best fielder in the comp. So that's something that he sets high standards for. You know, you don't hear many people say that, but that's, you know, I think that's just great attitude to bring. He's played some really critical innings for us. Hasn't got a big 100, but he got an 80 not out, and, you know, obviously could have made anything of that. And he's had a couple of not outs, chasing totals and finishing not out and doing the job. So, yeah, brilliant acquisition. And Dylan, well, obviously, you know, he's a three-dimensional player, bats, bowls and fields. Comes off a massive season. Yeah, you know. And we've seen today, you know, he might have got a first ball duck, but he's taking wickets, taking catches and staying in the game.
That one well struck by Liam Taylor.
They've essentially got through 6 off the first 2 balls here, with Lee giving off 2 wides to start off the over. couple of twos.
I've just been doing some research into the last 4 overs of Toronto's innings. So 42 runs from the last 4 overs of the Kookaburras innings. That one was just chipped up and will land in front of the man on the boundary.
It's potentially made the difference tonight, hasn't it?
I think it has, definitely. That's really been the point where Wallsend have slipped off the pace the last couple of overs. And that is where Toronto picked it up late. Adrian Chad did a terrific job. Smacking the ball to all parts. Just beaten for pace there. Matt Lynch by Griffin Lee.
Just climbed off the wicket, that one, hasn't it? Lynch was just trying to guide it through third man for a boundary and using the pace, and it's just lifted off the wicket. Just flew over his bat.
Really need to get a couple of boundaries of the last 2 balls of this over to give themselves a chance, you'd think.
Lynch can't get that one through the covers. A reminder, tomorrow night on Bar TV, Waratah Mayfield taking on the Lions from Merewether. Should be a fascinating contest. And then on Thursday this week, Newcastle City taking on Hamwicks. Local derby in that one. An appeal, stifled appeal from Griffin Lee. And
2 of only 3 teams that have won this competition, Merewether and Hamwicks in action.
Yeah, so 3 straight weeks of Tuesday to Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this competition, the Newcastle City Council Summer Bash, and then rounds 4 and 5 are played at the home grounds of each side on a couple of Sundays, and then the semi-final and grand final all played on the 17th. So, yeah, rounds 4 and 5 both played on the 10th of February. That's a fairly quick competition. And then the 17th of Feb, all those finals matches played on a big day of cricket. As we see the final over, and it will be Charlton to bowl that we've been waiting for it.
So they need 28 off it to win.
Almost needing some kind of miracle here, Wallsend.
I think they need some extras, and they need boundaries off those extras, I think, to help them out.
41 would do it for them.
Unless we fancy someone hitting 5 sixes, 41 would do them, wouldn't it?
Not that we're doubting the ability of the Wallsend batsmen, it's just been a tough night to score.
Lynch gets that one up and over point. And maybe that's why we haven't seen Brendan Charlton, as you mentioned earlier, that pace, easy to latch onto, and that's exactly what the youngster Matt Lynch did there. Used the pace.
Did that well, hasn't he?
Kept him in the game, Matt Lynch, with that. Saw his old man as I was walking in, Dave.
24 to win off 5. He walks it, Charlton. And now it's, well, it's 4 maximums, provided there's no extras.
Just had a update from the Parker Oval. Cooper Lennox, the youngster, hit 28 off 18 rocks. And to close it out for the Rosellas.
Handy little knock.
Again, our little secret informant, David Redden, keeping us up to date there.
That will give them plenty of confidence moving forward, the Rosellas.
Especially doing it without Price, who obviously has been prolific and does it quickly. You know, Wibble's obviously now in some good form, and as we mentioned before, Murph McLaughlin with a 44 off 29. So all striking at close to that 150 mark.
And for all of you watching at home or at the ground, you'll get a look at the Rosellas next Thursday on Bar TV when they take on the Seagulls. From Stockton, Dave Redden's side.
Might get Dave to do a little bit of...
Yeah, we could get him in.
Guest commentary.
Dave would be great. Here's Charlton. And that one taken nicely. Joel Foster. He's been bowling wonderfully this afternoon, and now he takes a catch. Just to round things out. And Matt Lynch, a solid knock from him. Just not enough, though, in the end for the Tigers.
A little disappointing there for Matt Lynch. He would have liked to finish not out. He probably deserved to, the way he batted, but fortunately.
His second catch of the afternoon, Joel Foster.
You can see at least he's still putting the team first, despite having no chance to win. He's still putting his ball in. It may have ramifications later on for net run rate.
Yeah, how does that work? I wonder if it's could be quotient. So yeah, it will. If it is quotient, yeah, then a wicket will have an impact.
Yeah.
If it's net run rate, I think that only works purely on run rate, doesn't it? I should probably know that.
Being the president?
Well, more so my role in Newcastle cricket on the board there, but it's okay. We'll work it out when we need to.
I look to be wide down the leg side. New batsman out there is James Beattie, or James Beattie, I should say. And Toronto, they've been good. They've been in good limits and overs form this year, just missing out on a spot in the final of the Tom Locker Cup, finishing second in Pool B. Charlton really squaring up Beattie on that occasion. And that will do us. So Toronto kick off the Newcastle City Council Summer Bash in style with victory on the opening night. And they take it out by 20 runs.
So your predictions at the start of the match of the past score being 140. It's interesting that that's bang in the middle of the 150 and 130. So yeah, good prediction, guys.
Yeah, I think 140. Yeah. I think the pitch was a little up and down. So as you were saying, 160. If you're getting a flat deck, which more matches being played, a little bit more rolling, a little bit harder, we could be getting up near the 160s. But at the moment, maybe it's just settling in a little bit, with a lot of cricket to come in the coming days with the T20 competition. Obviously, the 2 days here on the weekend as well. So it's going to be busy for the ground staff here at Number One Sports Ground, but confidence-boosting win to start it all off, and you need to start well in these short competitions, don't you, Aaron?
Yeah, look, and it's good. We haven't been fantastic at short format, well, T20 cricket, I should say, in recent years. So last year we had three wins from 5 games, and we lost this midweek match at the same time last year, so it's good to get that out of the way. And 2 more midweek matches. So that does change things a bit this year too, with the use of marquees and stuff. So yeah, I'm a happy president today. Put it that way.
Who's the next matchup for Toronto?
Good question. I think it's either City or quick look here. So, yeah, it is Newcastle City, and it'll be at Harker Oval.
Okay. Is that one of the double headers?
No, that's next Wednesday.
That's next Wednesday, yep.
And then we have the Magpies here, round 3, and then we go into the double headers for Sunday the 10th of Feb.
We'll head down to the boundary side with the boys from Sports Castle. Chris, good result to start for Toronto. What were your thoughts on the match overall and also the pitch?
Yeah, it certainly looked like the pitch played up and down a little bit. And in terms of the match, I think obviously both the bowling and batting of Adrian Chad were really crucial. He strangled him with the ball, and that quick fire little innings at the end of the Toronto innings certainly made the difference.
Do you think that was the difference in the end? Adrian Chad, he obviously bowled really well, but that last 4 overs, I think that was the difference from what we were calculating up here. 42 Toronto scored off the last 4.
Well, it certainly looked like after Jacob Montgomery's innings that Wallsend were coming along at a good click, even with the fall of his wicket. But those quick runs from Toronto at the end set a big target.
Well, boys, we might wrap it up. You'll be back tomorrow night, Chris, will you?
I will. I'll be joined by my partner in crime, Jared, when he can make it down, so that'll be excellent.
Terrific news, terrific news. Well, you have a good night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Josh and Aaron, just a quick summary from you, Josh, and we'll wrap it all up, and your thoughts on this concept as a whole.
Great concept. Midweek games, perfect for family atmosphere, as Aaron's pointed out a few times tonight. I think Wallsend just lacked a little bit at the top of their order. They needed to one of their batsmen to go on with it. Jacob Montgomery, great start, but they needed one of those big three to bat through, and unfortunately wasn't the case. So they only fell 20 runs short. On a different day with a batsman going through, maybe a little closer.
Aaron, it's been a pleasure to have you alongside us.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and Josh as well.
Not a problem.
On your debut, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Commentary debut, you did a superb job. We'll be back tomorrow night for the Bash, the Newcastle City Council Summer Bash. Again, thanks for your company tonight. We'll catch you soon.